bit more very quickly. Teams, and I think about Renegades at First Strike, right? They tried playing Icebox against Envy. They ran it down A for 12 rounds in a row. It obviously didn't pan out. But we're seeing this map used to be the wild card for the less favored team, which is why I think it was really you who were touching on this. Sentinels intentionally leaned into this one, removed that as a weakness, and you're really shoring up everything else. We'll see what LG can do on the attacking side here, showing B early on, which is honestly not super common.
That's one of those things about this map where I could talk for an hour on this, Doug, but taking long B control is, with teammates, altogether a difficult thing on attack. But once you've done this, see how many players are leaned towards B right now. If LG had opted to maybe turn around and go back towards A, they are throwing the fake. Drone comes through, dark cover comes out, dart's going into the back of the site, and suddenly there's 4 players from Sentinels over here at A. This fake is successful, and it's only dapr over here at B, and he knows the jig is up at this point.
Yeah, they're starting to rotate over. The wall's going to go up. Now members of Sentinels are going to start to get there, but at this point, LG have control, right? Stellar's going to get the spike down. They've got everything set up, and then once again, we've got this spam through the utility where that Omen smoke went up. You've got the KG utility as well. A Proto gets one out the pistol, make that 2 and a third. Thief gets in on it as well, and now it's just down to 6. Sick, the man who can wear many hats. The only hat he's wearing is one that keeps him 6 feet under this time around. LG take the pistol.
Doug, is it possible that a Proto has robot arms that accounts for his sick aim? Because
I think so.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. It's beautiful. It's like an AI simulation watching a Proto just walk around and tap heads. Even if it's a classic burst, somehow it makes it look good. Now, you were talking about it at the beginning of the round. I touched on it briefly. The thing about Icebox is if you are going to play passive at a bomb site, we're talking about Long B here as a whole, from green to yellow all the way up to the spike, plant location in the first place, that is a lot of denied information for the defenders. And all it took was a very subtle fake from Sova and Omen there, dropping a little bit of utility for Sentinels to vastly over-rotate. So LG coming out with a strong pistol round win. They're going to anti-eco, at least press towards the A bomb site, look for the get the spike down here in the coming seconds. But as I say that, Sentinels not looking to yield it just yet. Stellar finds a first on Shazam, who holds fast, but Thief in this Rafters position is sure to dominate.
dapr,
at least for a moment.
dapr has to go big here. Oh, dapr was on the flank, but he got sniffed out. Right, you see the Sova on the mini map, was able to push dapr back. He's gonna have to go all the way back around, so a flank is no longer an option. There's no pinching LG in here. It's not like they have anything to save, so you presume they're gonna go for it. Your boy Dre gets one. A Proto gets in on the second one, fortunately for him, because he was caught with the dry clip. And your boy Dre finishes it up. The eco, things all really going in favor of LG here.
Yeah, just a brief moment of hope for Sentinels. It seemed as though you mentioned the flank. You have the players pouring in from Rafters. The first frag onto Thief goes the way of Sentinels. And suddenly it's like, oh, geez, this is a 4-on-4. This is doable. And they've got all the pieces in the right place. And unfortunately, between weaponry and confidence, it seems like LG winning all their gunfights there pretty comfortably. Sick, the only player from Sentinels yet to scratch the tally marks on the board, 2 and 2. The rest of his team is yet to chime in, however. First gun round coming out from Sentinels. And right away, they're kind of in this 2-1-2 setup, leaving Sova with the responsibility towards mid. But the thing about this map is when you're bonusing, the SMGs are so dangerous on the A-bomb site, and it's so easy to execute into. So there's almost no reason to go anywhere else except for a 5-man hit onto A. Now Stellar, that death is unfortunate. The wall goes down. The plant's not as certain as it was before, but the action is ensuing now. Doug, 5-on-4, LG yet to put the spike down.
Yeah, Sentinels is starting to pull the resources over, but they might be a bit late. We'll see if Sick and the rest of the gang can hold things back. And no, it's a Proto yet again with the crispy aim, was able to get 2 and keep back the defenses of Sentinels. The Sova's certainly worse for wear, but Sick, once again, able to get 1. Shazam gets in on the action as well, and LG just down to Dre. Dre's gonna get caught. A 3K for Shazam on the jet. Sentinels are on board.
Notice there, not a single player from LG made it past bracket or 410, whatever you want to call this area. That kind of threshold into the A site is basically the make or break point for that attack. And that's why I mentioned the stellar death. Not being able to put the wall down means those SMGs, you know, they're taking these ranged fights against vandals essentially. And a lot of the efficiency of a close range SMG battle when you're full strafe is mitigated quite a bit when those lanes are so open, right? So they only get 2 frags out of it. Sentinels has a nice cleanup round there, and a proto trying to double satchel up fails to do so. Sinatraa shuts it down with a crispy headshot, and now we got a 5-on-4 right away. And this kind of actually goes into what I was mentioning earlier, like this battle for long B early.
Yeah.
If you're successful with it, you basically can go wherever you want on the map. But Sentinel steps forward, shuts it down right away. And it's 4-on-3. I'm not quite sure how deep it fell, but dapr just taking these gunfights so confidently and just seems like Moose and Stellar meandering about looking for something, finding nothing so far.
Those shock darts certainly don't feel good. Dapr's going to survive, but if there was any doubt of where he was before that, it's absolutely been given away. Dapr, though, the big kill. Just going to leave things down to your boy Dre.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was Stellar. Yes, it's Dre. So he kind of like walked under tube for free. And I wonder whether or not in the coming rounds, LG will be able to key in on that. Okay, so if we're playing a 2-1-2 on the defensive side of Sentinels here, and you're contesting long B, right? You know, okay, the killjoy at the very minimum is going to be there just about every round. You know, I believe it was Sinatraa was over there with him. So you got the killjoy, you have Raze showing presence over there most rounds at B. Once you get that information, you know, it's unfortunate that a proto fell so quickly, but you know mid is weak, right? There's maximum going to be 2 there if they're playing weak at A. But the way LG approached that round, I think, was very logical. And once Dre, you know, the round was basically over, but once he kind of keyed in on that, like, hey, I could just walk to B under tube here for free. That may be something that's exploited later on in the game, and right away we have 5 players stacked up at mid here, working their way up tube.
Almost like you know what you're talking about, Lex. I mean, I can't put a finger on it. I don't know if that's what it is. But Sinatraa had a chance to tee up a couple. They were lined up for him. He was able to get one, but the Sheriff of a Proto switches to the Phantom. The results are the same. Dapr trades it out, and so that's going to calm things down to a 3v3. LG have managed to get towards B. The spike is there, but Dapr can cause some serious fits here for LG.
Yeah, and favorable trades for LG up to this point, but like you're saying, dapr is going to be a problem, and really it's on either him or over there, I mean shahzam over there at Snowman. This is one of those 2 options for LG to bust out of the site, and unfortunately they are not making a move at all.
Oh.
You know, Thief takes the Bladestorm battle against the fellow Jet of Shahzam, but all right, I'll take it back. Stellar has an opportunity here to maybe hit some shots, and he does. He drops it down to a 1v1, a close one there for Sentinels, and it was planted for mid to some degree, so scary moment there for dapr inside of Sentinels. However, you know, you brought it up, I'll finish it here. That staunch defense, the discipline almost of both dapr and Shahzam to not overpeak, not overplay their hand, and wait for the retake to come to fruition really lent itself towards just, you know, passive, conservative, calm play at a Sentinels, and it pays off in a big way. LG, who took the first 2 rounds, has been stumped here throughout, but we finally get a gun round on our hands.
Lex, I'll tell you this, though. I would have lost my dang mind had Stellar managed to land those shots and win that round. Again, comes up just a bit short. Sentinels take a 1-round lead. LG, they've shown a couple of different looks, and it's come up a bit empty here, as they haven't been able to get much going other than the initial 2 rounds. You saw dapr already flexing that lockdown. They've got the the showstopper as well. There's the lockdown. No Hunter Spree to trade it out. If they can get the showstopper into the back, it might be a problem, but no. A pro gets ripped from the skies before he even has a chance. Zom and dapr are able to get 2 apiece. That lockdown's going to stay. That's going to force LG away, and now it's on them to figure out, well, crap. Do we rotate back to B? Do we fully commit here and wait it out? That's certainly not working out. As Stellar drops, your boy Dre's able to get one, but Sentinels still have numbers control.
And that has got to be so frustrating if you're LG, but you know, I hate to drive this point home or sound like I'm being critical at all, but frankly, this is why reads are so important on this map. It doesn't take much in the way of utility. You know, even a dry peek or a jiggle. Sinatraa is hungry for this one. Running it down, moose balls. But man, like, all it would have taken in this round, and again, this isn't I'm trying to be hypercritical of LG, but facts are this. Sentinels is dictating the pace and the way that the rounds are playing out right away. Moved that Killjoy, who's been a mainstay at Long B throughout this entire game with Sinatraa. You know, you notice dapr has his ult at the beginning of the round, so you know Killjoy's going to be doing something probably a little bit differently than whatever he was doing before. And so they're opting to do this retake at A. And you could have scouted that out in the first seconds of that round, right? You would have known right away, okay, Killjoy is not here at Long B. This is a change-up setup. They're probably playing retake on A. And that's you don't need to be a genius to figure that out. It's just a matter of choosing to acquire that information. LG opted not to. Into a 5-man hit, didn't work out. And so now they're kind of leaned back into this like, okay, we're going to be tentative a little bit, like be careful with it, but we're going to take Long B control. And right now, they are in the driver's seat. They have some A presence. Okay, it's not as though they've given up the A side of the map. Sentinels knows this. They're holding mid at least. Dre is not going to allow anybody to just walk down on them. And for Sentinels, this is, you know, dapr taking a long-range Vandal fight, perhaps, but ultimately just playing very passive.
Right.
Waiting the clock out, seeing what LG's move is. And LG does not need to commit to this still. But I'm wondering whether or not they're going to have the presence of mind to do that. I think this is a fair reason for them to just commit.
Yeah, that alarm bot early on, some of that Killjoy utility is going to make him at least second guess it. And the problem is, where an alarm bot is found, there's normally more that follows. In the name of a nano swarm or a turret, there it is. dapr getting the kill, not with the utility, but with the Vandal. Old, true, and faithful gets one. Sinatraa goes up with the showstopper, looking for a second. He's going to get ripped down from the skies at the hands of Thief. The showstopper's not going to connect. Sentinels still have map control. They still have site control, as it's just down to 2 on the side of LG. They do have the res. If they can somehow get to it, make something happen, but it doesn't matter as the clock continues to tick away. Shahzam gets 3. dapr puts the last one on. Sentinels take a 3-round lead.
3 big kills coming out from Shahzam, but really, I think the highlight of that round for me is, okay, you've almost outmaneuvered Sentinels. You know, I'm talking like 40-second mark, right when I got done speaking. Immediately, LG just kind of like walked into the bomb site, right, Doug? They just kind of walked up. I think it was a proto taking that long-range fight towards defender spawn, and dapr wins it. And that entire round basically turns on its head, where Sentinels is outpositioned, and dapr's taking an unfavorable fight to, okay, he hit a shot, and now your lead entry duelist is down. The jig is up. Like you have a Sinatraa ult you can lean on to deny a plant. And LG just looked like, wow, we had B, and we couldn't even get the spike down.
Yep.
An unfortunate bout there, but Sentinel's looking very strong on defense here, Doug. And there's Toms with 2 phantom headshots already. Make that 3. Now it's just Dre. Shahzam with 2, Zombs with 3, and they are heating up, Doug.
They are, and he's going to get the dope sheriff skin on the way out to match the op in his back pocket. You gotta love that. It feels good. Sentinel sitting pretty here. That's 6 rounds in a row. Ladies and gents, we mentioned early on, LG looked good. They got the pistol. They got the following round. And then since then, it's just been Sentinels pouring it on. Remember the last time they played this, it was a banger. It went the distance all the way down to 15-13 in favor of Luminosity. And so far, Sentinels are starting off playing a much different tune.
Right, and I think LG is adjusting pretty well. They've kind of reverted back to what I mentioned earlier in the game, where you can kind of collectively work for map control across the board. And actually, as I say that, Shahzam has a very aggressive position over at A. These rotations will be a bit lean towards mid and B now. Do trade some kills over at mid. The res, it's not so bad.
He knows where it is. He's just a sitting duck there. You hate that, right? Like he comes up, he gets dropped right back down.
I think Stellar was in a reload or something. Yeah, he was not ready for that peak. Unfortunate. LG snakes in the grass at this point. Creeping through the B bomb site is a proto. The Hunter's Fury being popped. He knows there's a lot of defensive movement, and dapr, who's been rock solid in this game so far, finds one on the feet, but a proto there with the backstab. He's going to be an ever-present threat until it's dealt with. Sentinels will be worried about it, but that Ion Sheriff, like you mentioned, has special powers, man. That recovery, now you're in a 6-on, or you're up 6-2, 3-on-1. Stellar kind of botched the res earlier in this round, and I just gotta wonder, like, is there any stopping Sentinels at this point? And a big clutch from Stellar would do that. Finds the first on the 6. Shahzam presses forward. He dashes those dreams, Doug. Here it is, 7-2, Sentinels in firm control of this game.
Oh, dude, he had that. He totally had that. He had a chance there, had the wherewithal to drop the player up on top first and then go to try to push off the defuse, isolating those gunfights in a 1vx situation. That's your money right there, right? Like, if you can isolate them, force yourself into a favorable situation, you've got a chance. It may be slim, but you've got something to work with. Unfortunate there for Stellar. Once again, Sentinels put up 7 in a row. We've got some guns here for LG, but Lex, you can't afford to lose very many more rifle rounds here. This thing's getting out of control for them very quickly.
Definitely a defender-sided map, but yeah, this is, I mean, the difficulty here that I'm seeing, and they do have their 2 rounds, so it's not as though it's a total loss yet. However, kind of like you're alluding to, Doug, this is, LG has some great initial reads. It seems like they're doing the right things in these rounds, but Sentinels is just consistently one step ahead, and I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that Shahzam is taking these confident angles at A and B and mid or whatever, and at least process of elimination, you know, figuring out where the attackers are, right? And right there, free haircuts towards the ponytail of Sage. Stellar falls. Shahzam absolutely been dominant force in this operator. It's not like this is a strange thing for him to be playing this well. But I think what's really making it even more painful is, I mean, just look at the minimap right now. You have the entire Sentinels team basically just playing retake at mid and B. They are so certain of where LG is on the map, and LG is doing nothing to dissuade them from this.
Well, there's just so much discipline. Like, LG have cut noise here, right? There's no cue that's been given. There's the cue now with 30 seconds left, but Sentinels waited so patiently, right? They knew where it was. They were okay with playing retakes elsewhere, like you said, but now they're going to go on to A. Shahzam's able to take care of Thief. Your boy Dre trades it out. A Proto manages to get a very comfortable position, but Sinatraa takes him out. Shahzam gets one in exchange. Your boy Dre was the last one, and he drops. Sentinels managed to take it back, while dapr was on the opposite side of the map. He was still over by B when all of that went down. Sentinels are clicking on all cylinders, Lex.
This is fun to watch if you're a Sentinels fan. This is, yeah, I mean, clicking is an understatement of the century. It's not just that they're hitting their shots. They certainly are, Doug. It's more like LG is like, okay, we're going to take this map control. Now what are you going to do? And they're just like, well, we're going to wait until you go back mid or B. And time and again, it's like LG expects Sentinels to second guess themselves. You alluded to the discipline out of Sentinels, and that's so true, man. Like, they are getting the reads, and they're reacting to concrete info only. All right, now LG is shaking things up a bit. This actually is the perfect remedy for this kind of like landlocked situation you might feel on a default on attack, right? Free some space, right? Go wide peek somebody. Immediately a Proto takes the head off of Sinatraa, and this is just one of those scenarios where you're on an eco, right? You're kind of like hoping for some weapons to fall, maybe go your way. You have the Blade Storm to work with. Thief actually comes up short there, but I like the reaction out of LG on these ecos. It's predictable, I think, at this point for Sentinels. But man, like, something's got to change a little bit.
Right. Yeah, you've got to do something. It's obviously not working. And so far, at least it's been expensive for Sentinels already, right? They've already dropped 2 members. You don't want to have to invest that. And again, that just kind of goes to show how much this round has gone sideways for Sentinels. That's the last thing you want to have to invest in an eco. LG with less than ideal weaponry, forcing that lockdown out. That's no longer going to be a factor. Sentinels win the round anyway, but LG, man, they made that thing hurt.
I was about to defend the lockdown use, but I'm wondering whether dapr maybe got some, I don't know, misread info or had assumed wrongly at the position of the attackers, because that was, maybe he was even baiting out their peaks and hoping for more eco frags. I don't know, but that was almost a scary situation for a moment. There's a world in which both those players live, press towards defender spawn, collect the Vandal, you know, and suddenly win a 2v2. That said, that didn't happen, and we live in this universe where it's 9-2. Sentinels at no point in this game has looked shaky or uncertain at their gameplay, and they are about it right now, man. LG is looking a little desperate on those ecos, but that can sometimes be a good thing. And this is that long B control that I was talking about at the very beginning of the game. You've got this now. Go clear yellow, Do whatever you need to do, guys. But once you've drawn the rotations from Sentinels, like, look at how much map control they are giving up when they take this.
Yeah.
There's no one mid, and dude, Zombs is already up near belt. Like, they know it's not A, and a Proto actually is going to lead things in. A nice change of pace where they do find the entry. So beautiful play from him to get the first one. Spike will go down cleanly now. With only a little bit of damage being traded back and forth, and Sick and Errant Hunter's Fury. Really nothing. A Proto finds his second. Doug, this is a very winnable round now for LG.
It is, and it's a desperately needed one. Get to 9-3 at half, given how Sentinels is played, and you almost want to count that a win, but you're far from over. Sentinels don't have any ultimates to work with. Beef able to get one, just lurking on the other side of the wall in the smoke. Able to get one. Moose gets in on it as well. It wasn't just a win, Lex, it was a flawless one. That's a big way to close the half. Folks, we're going to cut to a very quick break. When we return, the closure on Ice walked away victorious, but this has been more of what we expected. Like, Sentinels love to play this map. They pick it all the time. They've put a ton of reps on it, and we're seeing why they're so good here.
Certainly. And I think, you know, to some degree, both of these teams are comfortable on Icebox, right? So I'm anxious to see whether or not LG can recover from what I wouldn't say that's like a total abysmal loss of a half on attacker side Icebox, where score lines are usually around this range to begin with. That doesn't mean they couldn't have done better, but certainly for LG now, as this B attack comes in from Sentinel, winning this pistol would be paramount to their success, and Dre finds two, but they're traded out instantly.
And it's the Frenzy. What else but the Frenzy getting the action? Dapr's going to get one back with the Ghost. You already see a couple of cheeky little shock darts coming out of Moose. See if they're going to land the spike. I mean, he hit the spot, right? Like, that's exactly where the spike is. There was just nobody there. It's going to drop things down to a 1v1. Frenzy v Frenzy. If I'm not mistaken, Moose has the health advantage, but Sick got the heck out, man, with 27 health left. Oh, but I love this. Oh my gosh, I love this from Sick. He's not committing to A. He just flanked around knowing that that's likely where Moose is going to be coming from, but now he's just guessing he's going to get the spot. Moose knows it was there. That's going to give the location away. 35 seconds left between these two Sovas. Similar weaponry. Six still not committing to go away to a different site. Now he's going to make his way over towards A. The dart not giving anything away, but that's going to be traded back. You're going to hear the spike go down as well, and that's going to... The gig is up, right? Moose knows at this point what's going on, but it's not done. The shock dart trying to create some space, keep Moose at bay. It's a tough spot to be able to blast through there. He doesn't have a good lineup. He's just going to have to play ring around the rosy. Sick with the angle. Sick had the shots, but Moose takes him out. LG take the pistol.
Well done to Moose. Let me just paint a picture of why this 1v1 was so cool, all right? Not only was Sick playing that so confidently, Doug, like, we both gasped when he turned around, you know? Like, we both were like, he's got this. Moose was 1-9 last half, and I've done it once already today, so I might as well do it a second time. I don't like pointing out scores like this, but sometimes when you have a rough half, it is tough to recover mentally, all right? And Moose is one of these players that, whenever I've played this guy in my entire career, like, he has been an ice-cold player, certainly somebody who's hot in the clutch and can win those rounds, but he didn't look super confident, and Sick knows in that instance, like, I got 25 HP, I've got a hope and a prayer that I win a straight-up gunfight versus a Frenzy. I got to do some cheeky, you know, maneuvering here to win it. And he almost came away with it, Doug. But Dre, who's already shown us that he's a threat with his Omen here over at the A side of the map, opens up with two.
Whoa. Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay. Sentinels just down to 6 again. Right, but LG have managed to drop a couple already. He's going to get some info. 6 going to drop at the hands of Stellar. The Vandal buy-up proved to be worthwhile there. That investment, as again, your boy Dre was able to get a couple of picks, but Sentinels made that costly. That didn't feel good there.
Agreed. And I think, you know, when we're talking, I was critical of my ranked teammates when they buy on the second round a rifle. It really can cripple your economy inadvertently. And they did recover the Vandal. It's not as though it's a big deal. Their bonus is just as clean as it would look like otherwise in this instance. But imagine that Vandal gets turned around and used on Sentinels in a mean way, or on LG in a mean way. And darn, it almost happened. Yep. That said, 9-5. You know, I've mentioned a few times now that this is a very defender-sided map. In a world in which LG wins pistol, which they did, cleans up their ecos, which they have so far. Like if this bonus to me anyway, I know this is interesting take coming off the back of a hot Vandal headshot from Shazam. Nice shot, dude. You know, winning this bonus is suddenly, I don't want to say scary for Sentinels. I don't think they would be worried in that way, but definitely, Doug, I think LG, they're going to find their footing in the coming rounds if they play this round right.
Yeah, they certainly have some opportunity here. It also, Sentinels not really fully committing to anything. You see a little do-si-do happening by A. Surely that's been heard. So Thief should have a decent idea of where Sick is. Meanwhile, the spike back by B. You've talked about B long control and how important it is on this map. Sentinels have taken it. Your boy Dre, again, the cutting of the sound, right? They just cut audio, and you already see, look at the Sage. Sage started to rotate over, and now it's going to have to pull back because the gig's up. With 30 seconds left, they have to commit onto the site. Sentinels have created so much space. It's just on your boy Dre initially to keep some of that back. He's able to take care of Shazam early on. He's going to get paranoid and has to back up. Thief has joined the action as LG rips Sentinels to shreds. Sam's the last one standing. He's healthy. He's got a Phantom, and of course, as I say that, he gets dropped down to 15 health. 5 seconds left in the round. Zombs doesn't have anything to work with. You talked about LG finding their footing, and dang it, Lex, that's exactly what they did.
Oh, yeah. And frankly, right there, Sentinels was doing the exact same, I don't want to call it a mistake, but certainly its lack of follow-through on a push towards Long B. You've claimed Long B control. You've cut noise. You're forcing indecision to the defender's side. You know, we saw all numbers, as you mentioned, of LG kind of floating around, unsure of where to be. But once you've gotten that info that there's nobody towards A, right? Once you know that this is going to be a B play, it is, you know, word to your teammates, like, plays coming your way. Dre is hot in that situation, man. Stinger is, in fact, the best gun in the game, and it's demonstrated in a big way for LG on their bonus. Wow. Sentinels, you know, definitely not clean in a way with this one yet. That's for certain, Doug.
No, certainly not. They're far from being out of the woodworks. LG, again, showing some pseudo-similar defensive look. The wall's gone up across the middle of the map, so that's no shenanigans are going to be taking place there. They're also controlling the middle while investing a bit more A and playing off B, back by Snowmen. Sentinels pushing right in to A, and we'll see if they can get anything going. Shazam early on with the Blade Storm, able to get one. Roomba right in the face, certainly the last thing you want to see, but it doesn't matter as Sentinels have managed to take control of the site. So not just certainly worse for wear, but they're in there.
Force buy after force buy, and it's yielding, it bears fruit for Sentinels thus far. 5-on-3, spike planted, Doug. Things are, oh, thank goodness 100 Thieves isn't playing. Things are looking dicey right now for LG.
Yeah, boy Dre up from the rafters on the flank, able to take care of Sinatraa. LG, while they don't have the numbers advantage, there's certainly a possibility here. The smoke's going to go down. Moose, maybe at least try to get it to half.
I love this.
Oh, he's going to stick it. Oh,
stick it.
Oh my gosh, I almost said something I shouldn't say on camera. Stellar and Moose are able to get a kill apiece. Moose goes all the way, and he takes it right out of under their noses.
Moose, let's go. I really thought Shazam was going to light his world up with a right click there. Didn't happen. I don't think he had vision coming out of the dark cover into the jet smoke. And I think that's just by virtue of the way that smokes works in this game is sometimes when you're inside of them, you can be very visible. We'll see it in a second, I think. Oh, man. Oh, man. Just...
Oh! I mean, the shock dart, the stingers, like... The bullets flying through the smokes, the cloudburst, I think ultimately hurt him more than it helped him.
That's fun. You know what? I'm glad that I brought up Moose having a rough half in the last half because he's only got 3 kills, but he's basically won 2 different rounds here for LG just by keeping a cool head.
Yep.
So Thief opening things up. This is an interesting op battle that we haven't talked about it yet in this series at least, but that certainly is going to put a damper on Sentinels, specifically Shazam's willingness and confidence to be dry peeking these angles, and Sinatraa also feeling the pain immediately afterwards. Thief, you know, if you're in this situation where an A opper, or specifically an A jet opper, is finding you picks on your defense, this went from being a defender-sided map to, I don't know what to do, guys. Like, attack is suddenly so difficult, and right now, you know, the response out of Sentinels is clear. Like, let's just see if we can go find a pick somewhere.
Yep.
Dapper up tube, you know, regrouping with Zombs a little bit. Even he's going to double back, look for a frag, but not a lot to work with yet until dapr makes contact with the zone.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you mentioned it, the opening picks really kind of turn things into a bloody mess. Although, yeah, well, yeah, it's just hard. I think the interesting thing, and one of the things I love personally about watching or calling LG is how they play the defensive sides, right? Like, their defense is so good, and they can do it a few different ways, Lex, and I think this is why people have a hard time going up against Luminosity.
Sure.
They're excellent at the retake. Like, they're so good at the retake. If you've listened to my rants, which I do often, around playing strong sides and weak sides of the map and a bit of a push and pull, like, they play that so well as well. You'll see oftentimes they go pretty aggressively on B, try to take B long control, and they're playing off A, right? They understand the ebb and flow on understanding where they need to pull and where they need to push defensively. And it's working so far. It's giving people fits. Sentinels is one of them as well. Look at, they have 4 ults to work with here. This is so difficult for Sentinels to deal with.
And because of this kind of intermittent play towards long B, when Sentinels, you know, isn't really reading into it much, but Stellar is consistently playing this deep snowman position, gets his wall boost out when he needs it, and is playing ultra passive over B. Now, I have nothing really to say about that. It's a cool and interesting way to do it, but he's playing a progression, like a routine where he walls up tube, rotates around spawn, and 2 huge ultimate Hunter's Fury kills coming out from Moose, who, you know, I said it a round ago, but is having such a big impact in this game considering the circumstances, right? Having a rough half, immediately turning things around and coming out dominant in form. Suddenly this is going to be a tie ball game with 5-on-2.
1 enemy remaining.
You know, dapr and zombs once again kind of at a loss with what to do, Doug. They're just kind of, well, they didn't work. Like, I don't know what to do. Maybe we find a pick. Dre says no.
Like, I'm telling you, baby, this is why people love LG, right? Like, this is why people have been talking about them so much recently. This is where their meteoric, rise to fame is built on, right? Like, they are sticking it to Sentinels here. After they took it in the chin for the first half, they're showing that even though this is Sentinel's preferred map, LG's the one who picks it. They're going to show them that they can reckon with them regardless of where Sentinels want to go. And LG they're just feeling themselves right now. This looks so good for LG.
Yeah, when Dre's feeling it and he's hitting his shots, I don't think he necessarily steps into these rounds like, there are players in this game that can, like, all right, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to kill everybody. And certainly he does that from time to time.
Yeah.
But you don't need players to do that all the time, especially when you're defensive-sided icebox where, you know, you've basically closed the gap to 9-8. Just play your role, do your job. The kills will come. And Dre, you know, silencing the aggressors on his site. You got to hand it to him. The guy has been lighting up the scoreboard as well as these rounds. And there's the caster's curse again, Doug.
Well, but look at how LG are playing this. Again, they play on the retake. Stellar and Moose unfortunately show up a bit late there. Proto, once again, with a clean shot, able to take care of Sinatraa. Dapr trades him out. It's just Thief in a 1v4. You imagine he's going to want to... Well, I guess they've made so much dang money in the last 9 rounds that it's okay if they drop a couple of bucks, but you presume he's going to want to save that operator. LG, this is the first time we've seen in recent memory, Lex, where they try to play that A retake and Sentinels got all the way in, right? It wasn't just getting all the way into the site and getting the spike down, but controlling the entry points that LG so frequently abuses when they're retaking A. It was just too much for them to handle.
An unfortunate ending to Thief's, I will call it a tirade over a day throughout this game so far. Just basically making Sentinels fear the A approach in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, we mentioned it a few rounds ago when he won the AWP battle, against Shahzam. Well, now they've, I mean, kind of like you're saying, Doug. I mean, exactly like you're saying. Once you've changed up that setup and you're opting to, you know, play a more passive setup towards A, like, there's a lot that can go wrong. And honestly, I was sitting there describing Dre's performance, and even Sentinels, like, getting up to 410, kind of like bracket area, you know, the server side on A, really didn't seem like they were ready to commit yet, but it was just pure confidence from Sinatraa to make that play, get up there, basically in the guts of LG, find 2 kills that, you know, any other day of the week, maybe he doesn't hit those shots, or maybe he doesn't you know, come away without being detected first.
There.
But that retake didn't even get a chance to show up, right? And that's kind of what you were getting at, where, you know, if you're gonna play retake at a site in the first place, you gotta make sure you at least live to do so. And that said, Sick, once again, able to go all the way up to the site. And they are not committed fully yet, technically.
No,
As I say that, they walk right back up and start playing this play.
Oh, I believe Shazam has an op. Yep, there it is. He's able to anchor things down from rafters as he takes care of a proto. Thief gets it traded out as well, but Sentinels is already down to 2 members left. That retake is just so difficult to deal with, right? Like, even with Shazam up on top with the operator trying to provide cover for his team, that certainly helps as he's able to get the shots onto Stellar. Your boy Dre's going to trade him out, however, it's just down to Sick. Sentinels, they get onto A, and if LG can stay alive and play off long enough to get their resources there, Sentinels just haven't had an answer for that.
They have not. And I think that's maybe the point that I should have been driving home just a moment ago, but they were able to catch LG off guard, right, in the previous round, whereas here, I mean, a proto stops the spike plant. I think Thief got 2 different operator picks, basically people pushing up onto the spike. And for me, you know, as a player, you can maybe count that up to maybe luck, right? I don't want to discount the performance of these players, but like sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you catch people off guard, and the read that you make, the decision that you make, and then the follow-up round is like, hey, A worked, let's do it again.
Right.
And this time LG, you know, as previously stated, was absolutely ready for it. And honestly, like a pretty muted performance from a few players in this game where, you know, Sinatraa and Moose, 2 players who I wouldn't necessarily say that Moose is known for putting up big numbers, but he's someone who's typically a pretty consistent player. And Sinatraa, even when he has bad games, they're good games, you know?
Right.
But I wonder whether or not, because of the threat of these operators from BR Thief, just, oh my goodness, doesn't connect. But the confidence of both operators, Shazam is hitting some shots. Shazam is hitting some shots. We'll try that again in a moment. But Thief absolutely is playing with confidence right now. And it's just so...
Taken out.
Never mind. There it is. So tough to shut that down is what I was about to say, but never mind.
Sick, man. He got one, and then he got a couple of bullets right into the back of the head as he tried lurking around, creating more space. It's a spike. Be careful. The spike is not committed. He has the from the shadows, and look at where Killjoy is. If dapr can create a bit more space towards B, they can pull out. That's exactly what they're going to do as they're trying to rotate over. And this, in my opinion, is where Icebox can shine. If the attacking team can invest a lot, draw out some of that utility, and then reassess, you're so much more likely to get onto that. The site is so difficult to take as it is. LG started to pull off. Now they're back, but they're at a numbers disadvantage. Your boy Dre, up top. He's going to spot one. Just narrowly missing the shots. dapr swings in on it as well. He's going to get taken, or he takes him out, excuse me. Zombs gets the plant, started to get the plant down. Almost did. Now he's going to do it. Boost. In a 2v4, he's not even going to get a chance, man. It's just down to Stellar. This went sideways for LG very quickly, and the difference was, Lex, it wasn't that they went A, right? Because that's what they've done time and time again, but the way they did it differently was they went in, they drew out utility, they made Sentinels think twice about it, LG think real hard about it, and then they pulled off just to go back. And at that point, they don't have the same resources available to stop what Sentinels are doing.
I think you're absolutely right. And the thing that I'll add to that is the big difference maker in this round versus all the executes prior to this one is, you know, either by accident or by design. I won't try and take credit away from the man as he just picked up his 3-piece, but dapr's lurk at mid. Okay, they were able to fall off A and draw rotates from LG because he wins that gunfight under tube towards Boiler. And, you know, when we're talking about, you know, I was talking to actually you specifically during the break, Icebox to me is, you know, if played properly, is a very formulaic map. Okay, you can absolutely force your opponents to play certain ways against you, and Sentinels just like almost accidentally stumbled into something pretty huge, where LG has all the reads and all the map control, and then does something poor with it, which is allows a lurk kill or allows the indecision from Sentinels to basically work against LG. LG doesn't know whether they're going back B or mid or whatever, and as I say that, the A push is unrelenting from Sentinels. First frag does go the way of Thief. And I believe the Proto does pop the showstopper, anxiously looking for a target. He'll find nothing. But Doug, this is already so much utility has come out from both teams with, you know, no spike plant yet, and it's a 4-on-4.
Thief, again, up from the rafters. The showstopper's going to be traded. Time from Sinatraa. He goes in aggressively. Spots one, spotted a second as well. Has a decent idea of where they are, but Thief, who has 3 on the round, also falls. That's going to drop things down to 2v2. The spike is not gone down yet. Stellar gets one, and once again, ladies and gents, it's dapr and it's Moose, and Moose wins it yet again. LG and Sentinels are tied at 11 apiece.
Man, I've said this. I say this on my stream. I talk about other players. I never say anything like mean or disrespectful. I promise. I promise, Doug. I don't. But I give praise to Moose a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't. He's just one of those players that you can have every advantage in the world against him, and he's just got. Gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this on a broadcast. Ice in his veins. Okay, I know it's a little cliche, but the dude's ice cold, and coming up on with what 3 1v1s now wins on this defender side. Look at the score line. All right, you have a guy maybe only on 7 kills, but if you're having that level of impact in a game, all right, that is coming up huge. Sentinels, who really looked like they could have stolen it away right there, the entire map, Doug, suddenly get shut down, and now we're all tied up once again.
It's impact kills, baby, and that's the thing that you don't see on a scoreboard. Is it's not, yeah, he got 7 kills, but they were meaningful kills that have kept LG in this thing. Sentinels, again, you mentioned the unrelenting aggression onto A, and we're seeing a bit of that same flavor, but this time it's not a pullback, right? They're back to what they were doing before. It's just like a full send where they try to get onto A, and LG can just play back, draw out some of that utility, and then swing in and take it. Fancy footwork from Thief as he's able to get one and then dash away. Moose turns in the party as he gets one as well, and Sentinels just continue to get picked apart, Lex. LG are at match point on Sentinels on their preferred map. This is their bread and butter, and LG are sticking it to them.
Having flashbacks to the time these two teams came up against each other, where down to the wire, but LG carries it. And man, I gave some praise to Moose, which I think was warranted. But Thief has what, 5 or 6 kills in the last 2, and certainly been a dominant performer in this half. Wow. I mean, taking dry peaks against Sentinels. All right, and again, I know we're singing the praises of LG. This is still a very winnable game for Sentinels, but they look outclassed when they're going towards A in these gunfights. They are just straight up losing to raw peaks from Thief, who is just playing so confidently, Doug. And it's, I'm fanboying a bit, but dang, that was some real tough fights to win.
Yeah.
And just time and again, he's like, I'm gonna dry peek now. Gets a kill, falls back, survives. And that ever-present threat has just been delaying the push over and over again from Sentinels. And for the most part, it's been working out in LG's favor.
Yeah, it's just pretty. Right? Now look at how Sentinels, because of how the last few rounds have gone, how they're approaching this differently. It wasn't that A send like we've seen a number of times. This time, they made some noise B, they made some noise mid, again, drawing out some of that utility, taking some of those resources away from LG, so it's harder to deal with. Your boy Dre uses from the shadows. He gets all the information. Again, shocker. Sentinels have committed to A, and now it's on LG to take it back. My gosh, Thief snaps. Thief gets a second one. Shazam's able to trade it out. Sentinels just down to 3 members left. The spike has been planted. LG being able to push in again from those very common spots such as that Sentinels and Shazam specifically seem to be very comfortable holding off for now. LG down to 2 members less. Moose, once again, a high impact kill to drop things down. Apiece. Dapr swings. Dapr gets one with the stinger. It's just down to Stellar. He taps. He has to back up. Again, he's outnumbered here. The clock is not his friend as it just continues to tick away. His position's been given up. He's going to understand where they are, but at this point, Lex, I don't think there's enough time. Sentinels should be able to get this round away, and much like we saw last time around, we're going to overtime.
Last player standing.
And that is a fun round to watch if you're
overtime.
Actually, it's not. There was a few different moves. I was gonna say like Thief opening things up with those 2 sick kills, but legit, we saw Sinatraa and Shazam basically leap to their doom for little to no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And okay, everyone makes mistakes. Sometimes you dash into a wall. Sometimes you jump unnecessarily into the enemy's crosshair. I don't know. But the fact that Sentinels did win that round, okay, that is, if you're either of those players who feel like, dude, from a player's perspective, I'm sitting there with my head in my hands like, dang, dude, I let my team down. I made a mistake. But clawing out that round was Sentinels, and we couldn't have asked for a better icebox, man. This is, you know, at 9-3, we weren't willing to count on LG yet, rightfully so. 12-12. And neither of these teams has figured it out in terms of finding a way to secure rounds on attack yet. We'll see what LG does differently here. And actually, right out the gate, Doug, a 3-1-1 where they're actually they're actually defaulting someone to make presence at A. And look at this. Dapr's immediately sucked back towards B. There are 3 players over at A. This is how you play Icebox.
Yeah,
that's for long B control, work A, go back and forth if you need to, but this is how you manipulate rotates. And right there, we finally have seen it work successfully. And whether or not LG has the presence of mind to capitalize on this is yet to be seen. But right here, the smokes, dark cover does come out. Paranoia as well. The press will come in from LG, Doug, onto this B bomb site.
The wall has gone up from Stellar to give him a little bit of room to work with. He's sick. Back by Snowman. Thief gets a big pick, though. Oh, man, things are falling apart for Sentinels very quickly. Thief already has 3, and he's hunting for more. Sick back, and Snowman has spotted 1.
Standing ahead.
But there's just not a whole lot he can do here quite yet. Zombs is also on the lurk, trying to catch him slipping. He's going to be just around the corner. Thief gets 4 at this point, looking to get an ace on this ever pivotal overtime round. Again, the attack has been meager at best for both squads, and LG turned it on at just the right time. It wasn't just about getting the utility drawn out over on A. It was icing on the cake when they got the kill. LG played that beautifully.
Thief's angry. Dre just stole his ace in OT. Unreal, dude. Why would you face that? I always had a teammate like that just goes out of his way to ruin your clip.
The worst.
You know what, man? I hope we still see that one on Twitter. And honestly, I've said his name a few times in this cast. If you'll allow me one more.
Oh, by all means.
Thief, okay. If there was an MVP award that a caster could hand out to an individual following a performance on a map, win or lose, it would be Thief. This guy's opening up entries, attack side, defense, 2Ks, 3Ks, so much in the last 5, 10 rounds even, since halftime. And I'm just more than impressed by their performance to bring this back to 13-12. Sentinels already overplaying their hand at B. Look at this. What is going on?
Yeah, boy, Dre able to get the opener onto dapr. You see Stellar getting a little bit of that altitude to try to give him a different sightline. Shazam spots it out. The op shot is not going to connect. The spike still hanging out by B long. It hasn't committed towards B. And the important thing is Sentinels is watching that mid flank. You see both members of LG just around the corner. If they decide to go in there, it can cause problems for Sentinels, but Sentinels wisely covering that area. Again, the spike is not committed anywhere, Lex. There's still 53 seconds left. You imagine they might try to cut some noise and either stick B or actually pull out. They have a ton of time to work with.
The tough part about this map, and I think, you know, devs, if you're at home watching and you're like, oh man, this caster's going to tell us how to make the game again. But I think, generally speaking, something that could be aided for players, you know, just in general, is being more comfortable rotating back from, on the attack side at least.
Oh,
long
hang on, like a proto.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, a proto gets the info though, right? So like you know at this point the play is coming towards A.
Right.
And this is like the second time in 25 rounds that we've seen a team willing to rotate back to the other bomb site. We're gonna make the second time.
Sentinels have fully committed here with 10 seconds left. They've got to go big, but Thief! Oh, baby! Thief gets 3! Give him the 4! LG take Icebox!
What? Okay, I can't. I'm just gonna do it again. Thief. That was an insane map.
With that in mind, if you haven't voted, I believe there's another vote going on right now specifically for Split. Let us know who you think is gonna win. Quick setting of the scene. Last 3 times Sentinels has played meaningful matches on Split, they've proven that they're pretty dang good at it. 3-0 record. Luminosity have a ton of reps on it, but it's not as dominant at 4-3. Sentinels on the attacking side here to kick off Split. We'll see what they have up their sleeve as they work their way right up middle.
Indeed. And as the round does get underway here, Doug, very quickly, I know you were over there in Twitch chat. Which team did you choose?
Here.
I didn't. I'm not. I didn't.
What?
I promise I didn't.
I
wouldn't
will do
lie
it
to you.
now. Tell me.
Come on, man. You know I can't do that.
Come on, man. All right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I will tell you what takes Sentinels. It's okay, though. Dre gets first contact over here in ropes. The A split is underway. There is only one member over there actually at A main, so this could easily be canceled.
Oh,
As
but I
say
love how Thief plays that, right? Like understanding that they're worked their way at mid, that they're trying to get him through ropes. He moseys his way into male to apply more pressure, to force Sentinels into a box where they have to either go through Thief or go back to ropes. It looks like they're gonna go back to ropes. Dre's able to get one. Sinatraa trades it back out as kills continue to go down left and right. Luminosity has the numbers advantage. Of course, as I say that, they drop one as well
30
at
seconds
the hands of Stellar. And in that chaos, we drop down to a 2v2. The spike has been planted. Moose with the frenzy, closing his way up. He's going to spot one. The quick moonwalk with that frenzy, able to get the kill. Sick trades it back out. And much like the rest of the round, it's traded back and forth into a 1v1. This time Sick. Oh no, he's been spotted. It's Moose again with the high impact 1v1 win. And he hits him with the shake at the end there. Luminosity are feeling themselves.
That's a frenzy of a round, Doug. But
Stop. You stop.
So dapr was very patient over at A main. Sentinels kind of threw a feint towards B heaven, took that map control after they went into ropes. So if you can imagine, just look at the mini map, pressing into ropes right there. You're calling for A rotates. Dre's taking contact. You know, he didn't get the kill right away, but you know, the information's there. Okay, they want to come towards A. But as soon as that cancel comes out, it seems as though it could be a fake. And there's several LG players were basically caught in a rotation, and they weren't necessarily that decisive with where to go. Thankfully, crouch spraying the frenzy at long range is just as efficient as a ghost. And Dre dispatched that lurk from dapr, which otherwise should have been the round-winning play. That said, Sentinels, who just lost pistol, already pressuring up mid here, and man, I'm glad to see Sage back on split. Can I just say that? I missed her.
Yeah, I was actually going to comment on the fact that we're now both sides, right? Like we just a couple weeks ago, we'd see one team start to play Sage on split, but now it's back. And honestly, it's a lot of the ways that people used to play her before, right? Wall off mid right off the bat, which is exactly what we saw the previous round. They walled off A long, but this time, understanding that that's where Sentinels wanted to go, they put that up. Sentinels push their way through anyway, as they've taken male, as they've taken B heaven control.
Sure, and at this point, even on an anti-eco, that utility from Sage has done its job to some degree, and it's mitigated the flow. It's stunted the spread of the Sentinel plague across the map, so to speak, into very manageable channels where, you know, nobody's going to get caught off guard. Dre drops the satchel and bounces out.
30
It's
seconds
a very
left.
clean anti-eco thus far. I'm sure I'm about to jinx it by saying this, but LG, 20 seconds left, still no spike plant. And it's just more delay, and only one bullet, and that stinger goes to bite Stellar, but that's that Dre still holding fast on the site. Can he stop the plant, though?
Spike planted.
No. Moose falls on one of his own, and you almost think that Sinatraa could come away with more kills here, and he does get two. But, you know, actually, that's a fantastic go from Sentinels. There was 20 seconds left on the clock. They don't even have B having control, let alone a spike plant. But they get 3 kills out of it, and a spike plant to go. So, you know what? All things considered, LG, who I gave praise for having a very clean anti-eco up until that point, Sentinels exploited it. Nice play from them to get to that juncture and put a little bit of money in their pocket, grab some alt orbs, and at least push LG to rebuy some of this armor and weaponry.
And Lex, you called the caster's curse while it was happening, right? Like you knew it was going to happen. It went sideways. And now check this out. Sentinels, specifically Sinatraa, because of the way that went down, he's got a showstopper round 3, right? Like they were able to funnel so many of those kills into him, and he went big there on the site. Almost got more, as you said. But that's a big ult early on, especially on the attacking side, to create some space. You see Sinatra's already worked his way up ramps as he takes a heaven control, and the thing is, there's really, for the defending side, because of some of the recent changes to that map and how that area plays out, it's hard to hold it. You kind of have to play off.
Man, that's something that I should have brought up in the pregame, actually. I don't know, outside of, like, obviously the last event, right? Like there hasn't been a ton of split playtime in terms of the top teams. So I haven't been able to see how, a lot of these teams have adjusted in a grand sense. So interesting setup. And we have like Reina and Cypher over here playing at A. These are these one and done spots playing off those trips ultimately. And I think it might work out here in a moment, Doug.
Yeah, Lex, like this is Thief and a Proto. This is their moneymaker right here. They anchor this site all the time. I love Thief in what I like to call the discipline box, discipline corner, because nobody checks it. He's able to get one. A Proto gets in and on it as well. They anchor that site so well, and they do repeatedly.
It was like watching a train wreck. Everything about that round is like, okay, there's tripwires here, guys. We should just go out of main. They won't know. And they didn't, technically. But as soon as, I believe that was, I think it was a Proto on the actual site, baiting for Thief a bit. Yeah. Once he gets visual contact that the enemy is coming out a ramp, like you said, and I apologize for bursting out in laughter in the middle of your cast. the discipline box because nobody checks it. It's so true. Like that there's no easy way to clear that angle without exposing yourself to the entire A bomb site. So, it seemed as though there was no way that Sentinels comes away with a clean round win. Yeah. Winning the bonus is LG. This is huge for an otherwise unfavorable map for them.
And the kicker is, if he doesn't get that first pick, he probably has 2 more people walk in front of him, and he's able to team up because, again, it just goes blind. This looks really good from Sentinels. However, you saw the Jet dash in, Shazam, Cloud bursted and checked that corner because he's not going to be full twice on what went down there. They have supreme numbers advantage here. LG, although they have the lead, this is a tough ask to take A back.
But wow, what a response. Instead of backing down, Sentinels just doubles down on it. Now they got a 4-on-1 Stellar up against the ropes. Does find one. Building towards that ult orb, but death here is not the biggest deal because you do earn that resurrection. And in fact, he's got it ahead of time. This is actually, do you go for this? What's the timer like?
Surely not.
No, there's no way.
Surely not.
Sorry, I was just thinking out loud. Audio's a little bit low, man. But you know what? Like, that was a perfect response, which is just like, okay, this is your setup. You're playing 2 on site. Like, we're just going to satchel at you. We're going to dash in. We're going to answer with speed, okay? It wasn't a strategic blunder necessarily the round prior on the bonus, but certainly the solution's there, right? Oh, well, I mean, if you're satcheling over that guy into heaven right away, then it doesn't become an issue.
True.
That's what I'm getting at, right? They responded by saying, like, okay, we're going to try the same play because they're clearly not working with any kind of, like, big firepower or doing anything cheeky over here. It's just a Cypher and Arena. So they're probably going to be using the Cypher util, leaning on that to find the entries and deny kind of the direct push into sight. But
no more charges left.
Something that immediately destroys that kind of a play is a jet dash, a satchel from Raze. And certainly Sentinels is no stranger to being able to change up pace in any matchup. But going from like a slow, calculated style into a fast execute like that and having it work that quickly, that makes me worried for LG's overall defense moving through this half. Is like, okay, if you're not able to confidently play the A site, like with just a Proto over there, then you're going to be inclined to play off angles, play, in one and done spots or over peak in situations that you probably shouldn't. And right there, Thief getting his head ripped off. Yeah. You do have res, so it's not as though this is like a total loss, but Stellar's not in position to get that right away. And this looks like they're going to yield B. Probably a wise choice considering, well, not Sentinels is there.
They don't know.
They didn't actually hear that at all, did they?
No, they don't know. Yeah, they had no idea.
So
Again,
right.
I was cutting noise, and they pull off. That's going to allow Sentinels to get onto the site. They're going to wall off CT, and they have full access. They have full control, and to add insult to injury, Lex, Cypher has mid-control. Those 2 players that are about to rotate from ropes, Dapper's going to see them. He may not get both kills, but the information will be there. They're going to understand where this coming from, and to pile it on, he knows exactly where that res is. Dapper waits. Oh, the patience. I love that from him. The Empress is going to be used, but Dapper on the swing continues to hold, waits, and waits. There it is. Your boy Dre gets one. There's Dapper. There's the play we were talking about. Gets one. Not able to get more. Moose does. As he cleans things up, Sentinels finish the round with 3 as they rip LG apart.
Wow. I mean, you said it already, but hit the nail on the head, man. I totally misread that situation. I thought LG, like, okay, you're moving one piece over, Stellar, to go work for the res and ropes. I think that's a fair play to make. But leaning towards the gamble stack, moving both Dre and Moose off the B site, I thought for sure that that was like a calculated play-to-play retake. But no, they were actually going to A. And, you know, couldn't have come a moment sooner as Sentinels dashes in, takes all of that space for free. And I was amazed to see that they legit could not even hear that jet dash. Now, you want to hear my thoughts on jet abilities another time. But certainly that is
be part of the podcast.
yes, that is one of those situations where it's a beautiful mother. Thief is going to have to be a nuisance over here at A, and that is actually, that bodes well for what we were talking about just a few moments ago on whether or not their A site holds are going to be, I almost said stellar, but if their A site holds are going to be solid, Thief needs to be able to find those entries, and he does. Sentinels is going to double back now, play into that, and hope. You know, unfortunately, they don't run into a deep trip, so this information for LG will come quickly. But they're going to hope that the rotations are moving away from A, which in some ways they are, Doug. And I wonder whether or not this res is going to come out.
You will not kill my ally.
Yeah.
You won't have to wonder for long. A proto here, again, almost automatic when it comes to headshots. But there it is, that discipline corner. It's there, right? They've been had. They're not going to get bit by the same bug. They know exactly where to check. Thief, however, up from up top, is able to take care of Sinatraa.
Left.
They anchor the site so well, but for now, Sentinels have managed to work their way in. The wall's going to go up too, much like we saw in B last round, to block the defender side spawn, not allow people in, at least easily, as they continue to buy time. LG, they're outnumbered, but this is certainly not out of the realms of possible. They've got Moose up in heaven. They've got opportunities here, but the clock continues to tick away. dapr gets one. Your boy Dre, with the stinger, was able to take one. But again, the Sentinels, the numbers advantage is still in favor of Sentinels as the clock continues to tick away time and time again. Moose able to take care of Sick. dapr still kind of jumping around that corner as things continue to fade away. Moose gets another one. They know where the last player is. dapr like a sitting duck down there. They're going to try to stick the defuse. Moose goes in. He's going to get cleaned up. dapr's going to have to hurry the heck up to get there. dapr gets it. But oh my gosh, how that easily could have gone the other way.
Wow, man. And you know what? Getting that res onto dapr, obviously clutching it out, but picking up 3 on the round. He's usually a player that on split for Sentinels, you know, he might not always be over here making presence, but his threat is certainly real and absolutely realized by the sides of LG. What I'm a little curious to know is, once Thief cheats back over and says like, okay, I can't hold this, I can't hold the body, I'm gonna need to just like go reset, help my team maybe at mid, whatever. I don't think there's anything to really be critical of there, but a proto was playing the discipline box and you know, had no help. And it's just one of those things where like you wonder in hindsight, of course, it's so easy as a caster to say this, but when you don't have support and when you're playing that far alone and you have that much responsibility, I gotta think that a proto is killing himself for putting himself in that situation. And unfortunately, like, not even getting the opportunity to slow down Sentinels after that res. They just ran at him, essentially. And that is that speed that, you know, this comp does have with the satchel and the dash that I've mentioned a few times. And against a passive A hold where you're relying on trips, I think it's totally reasonable for anybody on the side of LG to be getting caught out by these things, because it's hard to stop, man. It's hard to shut it down when you don't have, you know, arrays over there. And LG is sticking to this Omen Raze combo over at B, which, you know, we haven't seen a whole lot of action here from Sentinels yet. This will be the first time, yeah, Doug, this will be the first time that we're going to see a 5-man hit onto a defended bomb site at B.
Yeah, your boy Dre gets pushed off. He drops the pink hints to make him think twice about it. But with 25 seconds left, you know that's certainly where they have to go. Sinatra's going to use a showstopper initially. He dashes his way in. The wall goes up to provide cover, and nothing connects. It's still a 5v5. Of course, now members start to drop. dapr and Sick are able to get one apiece. shahzam gets in on it as well. Sentinels just down to 1 with 8 seconds left. Once again, it's Thief with the 4K for Luminosity.
I'm going to need this man's crosshair, res, sense, everything. This guy is
sits, bro. Like, what is he wearing? Like, what is it, man? What shampoo does he use? The guy's out of his mind.
It's not just that he's hitting shots, right? Like, because anybody can stand at the B-bomb site and hit a nice timing, shoot some people in the side of the head. It's that he's almost leading the retake. He's like leading these pushes back into sites where spikes getting planted. Sentinels is hitting all the marks, hitting all the check boxes, doing all the right things, and basically setting themselves up to win, right? And Thief is just so good, and oh man, there's so much pun opportunity right here, but I'll spare you. He steals it away.
Thank you.
He steals it away time and again, and those are dirty headshots to be doing it with. And oh my, okay. I did not expect myself to be talking 3 times now, Doug. But that dapr lurk is being shut down by Thief again. And
Yep.
I'll spare the rhetoric. Here's the B play coming out from Sentinels.
Down to 3 members left. How much play do you really have in you as they try to work their way back towards mid? They have drawn out some utility, but man, they paid for it, right? It was an expensive drawing out. And now you see the benefit that Luminosity has here is they don't, because they know they have the numbers advantage, they don't need to bite super hard one way or another. They can afford to spread themselves slightly thin, which is what they're doing here. And even in that instance, they're going to have a 3v3. Stellar gets 1, knows more's coming, gets 2, line them up and knock them down, baby. A flawless round for Stellar as they just walk into his crosshair and give him a 3K.
Stellar has, to my mind at least, if I had to give an award for like most improved player since I started paying attention to LG, it would be to him. And he doesn't always have these kind of plays where he just is able to shut down rounds. But you know what? I have a certain level of respect for any battle sage. Looking there over at you, Sick. I know how it is, man. It's a beautiful calling.
Tough out there, man.
It's a beautiful calling. It's a noble calling. But you know what? Sometimes like it's tough to, especially when you're in attack, like Sick is, to get into games and find opportunities to light up the scoreboard and make plays, you know? And I think, you know, as far as Stellar goes, he's nailing the rotations. Oh, man. Oh, man. 2. Find your third, Moose.
Well, your boy Dre's the one who gets it. Sentinels again on the eco, right? You don't expect this to go super favorably, but it sucks the wind out of your sails, right? Sentinel's just down to dapr. He's got nothing but a ghost, and he's gonna go for who knows what, trying to find a little something, see what he can catch along the map. But Lex, the interesting thing there is we saw Luminosity do a really good job of playing around Stellar's wall, right? And we've seen it set up a couple of different places. We've seen it mid, blocking off mid. We've seen it in B-Heaven, blocking off male, forcing them to go into ropes. We've seen it at the bottom of A ramps, or not quite A ramps, but further down, essentially not allowing any play into A. They do such a good job of playing around that wall that it's just left Sentinels guessing. It's almost not nearly as lethal, but it's almost like having to deal with an op who moves around everywhere, right? You don't know where you can go. You're guessing in a sense.
I mean, the way that LG plays it, you are right. It's not just the wall. It's a Protoss trips. You know, they're taking a little bits of map control and cutting it off. And you're absolutely right. Like when you're on attack on this map, if your player who defaults towards A, I'm looking at dapr now, but you know, is getting shut down, or you lose that end of the map in terms of just extremity control on attack. The fact is, you're playing a guessing game, as you're alluding to. You kind of have to hope that wherever you're regrouping to, whatever read you're getting at mid or over at B, you know, you might think, heck, this is the 60% chance or whatever, like, pretty decent chance that we're going to go back towards A, and there's only going to be one guy here, but does it matter if there's a sage wall or a deep trip in front of you, and the rotation can get back there in time to kind of stump your push? And a couple times, LG has been able to pull that off. And even I think it was a round before last where they went down 3v5 pretty early, it seems as though LG's reactions are like, look at Stellar's rotate. He is feeling this out. There's no hard info coming anywhere. He's just reading the game, and that is a tough thing to ask for any player to just do logically. But he's doing it quite well, and he's always on the fringe of the play at least. And the A split comes out from Sentinels now.
Keep an eye on Thief, keep an eye on a Proto. They're going to be the first ones there. Stellar showing up, and Thief once again gets 3. I said keep an eye on him, and sure enough, they're the ones that light up the kill feed. Thief gets 3, a Proto gets 2, Luminosity gets 7.
Wow. And the interesting thing, and the reason I brought up, I wanted to stress to you, not necessarily for the audience, but just, I feel like I haven't seen enough of the new split to really determine whether or not, like, the changes are going to be really good for attackers.
Right.
And generally speaking, I'm gonna disagree with that. I think it's almost a more defender-sided map now. Whatever, my hot takes can come another day. But the point is, LG has given a very limited number of looks at A. Right? Like doubling on site. Here's a fast A play again. We'll see if it holds.
Oh, I mean, a proto's there. He is gonna get one. This is unreal. It's like we're. How do they do it, man? They do it again and again.
The man's just walking around the bomb or the spike site, just death matching straight up. He knows what's being covered. He knows where his teammates are at, and he can just hear where they're moving constantly. And it's beautiful to watch a proto and thief both in their element over here at A. And I can keep heaping praise on it, but it's so wild that it's working.
Yeah, they play so well off each other. And I want to touch back on something you were talking about. I think I agree with you. Lex, I don't know that those changes, and the data suggests it, obviously. I mean, small sample size, but we're looking at it now. I don't know that those changes have made enough of a difference on the attacking side. So you presume LG are going to go up at half, but the question really is how high is high, right? LG right now are looking at potentially a 9-3 at half.
Cage triggered.
I mean, you're asking. 9-3 is pretty darn high. A pro to open things up with one on the Sinatraa. Dapr will fall, and the A hit is almost... Ooh, actually, check my last. That kill's kind of big because you do have the res on Sick, and his choices are now pretty limited to just resing the Omen. Now, Don's falling in mid there. There's the frag that'll enable it. So suddenly we have an all-even advantage here for nobody. And as I say that, Sick rips the head off of Stellar. And he picks up a third, so he's got 3 kills and the res on a teammate thus far in this round, putting himself in a 2v1. The Moose! In his, like, how many clutches so far, Doug? 6?
I've lost count, dude. I've entirely lost count. Folks, we're going to rewind and look at the film to see how many he... Folks, the players wanted to get back into the action very quickly, much faster than we were prepared for, so we don't know how many clutches have been had. What we do know is that Luminosity are up. They have the numbers advantage, the spike is down, and who else but a Proto and Moose here in this 1v2. Dapr, the last one standing on the side of Sentinels. He's going to get some info, but of course, he's going to drop at the hands of Moose, no less, as Luminosity take the pistol in the second half.
And that's a conservative estimate, too. I said 7 clutches, but it may very well be 8 or 9. Like, to be in that position as, you know, Sova typically is looked at, you know, on the previous map at least, as a support player. Omen, kind of the same thing, where you maybe are empowered to make plays and frag out, but in a team comp, in a team setting, you know, those opportunities may or may not come up. So for Moose, you know, if you go down in the very first map against Sentinels and you're 1-9 at halftime, and then you open things up with, like, what? In the first 3 rounds, he had like 2 1v2s, you know, something along those lines. And then here again in this map, coming up big. And it's not as though this is a close game where it's going to, like, bleed the difference right away. We might not know that till later. But absolutely, it's setting LG up to have this huge lead right now. There's no question that they are in vast control of not only this game, but at this point, the series, Doug. Like, this is Sentinels fighting for their tournament lives here.
Well, we'll see just how heavily defender side of this map still is, right? This is going to be an excellent opportunity to understand how that swing plays out. The wall's going to go up, as Sick is going to drop. That's going to allow Luminosity to mosey their way into B Heaven. Your boy Dre is there with the Phantom as he's keeping Sentinels back. They've taken so much control. Dapr's there. You can tell they forced. Oh my gosh, the Stinger! Stinger's able to get 2, but a Proto trades it out. Things have gotten very close all of a sudden, ladies and gents. Luminosity still with the numbers advantage, but you see Shahzam with the Stinger of his own. Up top, Stellar. Stellar's going to be one of the first points of contact. So those bullets come out, just checking down if anyone's coming in from the defender spawn. Nothing doing quite yet. The smokes have gone out. The paranoia is there. Stellar understands. Zom gets the shot. Zombs gets the kill as they dash onto the site, but it's still a 2v2. Shahzam gets 1. He's going to get pushed. It's Moose. Moose gets 1. You're kidding me. Moose might freaking do this thing again. 6 bullets and 15 health. No, it's Zombs who stops it dead in its tracks. They're going to get the defuse. Sentinels get to round 4.
Can't win them all. Moose almost won them all, but you can't win them all. That's just how it goes, man. And you know what? Beautiful play from Shahzam and Zombs right there to close that round out for Sentinels. And I mentioned that their tournament life sorry, not tournament life, but just series life in general. You know what I mean?
Winners bracket life.
Yeah, I prefer upper quarters, but it is.
Well,
what
that's
it is.
fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I just love that I described it as tournament lives on the line, as if they're out after this. So if anybody's at home right now criticizing me in chat, rightfully so. That said, you know what? Like you forced into that round, and it's 10-3 on the scoreboard. If you lose, which they were down 2-on-3 with the spike plant, then that's pretty much wraps. It's not over yet necessarily, but that's pretty much wraps. So there is definitely an opportunity here for Sentinels to start their momentum turn, you know, swing things back in their favor, find some footing, and absolutely have the potential to bring this map back to a winnable situation. But
the problem is that the deficit is just so big, Lex, right?
It is.
Like, again, this is a great opportunity for us to learn whether or not the map is still heavily defensive sided, because Sentinels, much like we saw from Luminosity in the last half, can rattle off a lot. But again, it's a hard ask. Sinatraa gets some info. They know where they're coming from.
Enemy remaining.
And they're just ripping them to shreds. Luminosity's just down to Stellar. He's going to mosey his way over with the Frenzy. It's a dope skin, by the way. Glitch Pop 2.0, right? Holla at your boy. I love him.
have you gotten your glitch pop skins yet, Doug?
I haven't.
Because everybody wants the glitch pop 2.0 skin.
Yeah, I know. They
Including
look
me.
so clean. They look so clean. But it just a glitch pop, dope skin or not, right? It doesn't pan out for Stellar there. That's 2 rounds in a row. We talked about how Sentinels forced in the second round of the second half, and so far so good, right? Like, it's paying off. They're gonna ride this bonus right into the sunset. They're looking good right here to slowly chip away at the huge deficit that they're facing.
Suddenly 10-5, a much more respectable situation, to be certain. But I think the interesting things that we can keep an eye on for this half is, obviously this is just a slow default coming out from LG, break the wall at mid, and you know they would be unwise to press forward now, given that there's 3 players from Sentinels from our bird eye point of view in the minimap. See that they're all ready for mid aggression, and they're going to contest it if it comes. So LG, timid as they are for whatever reason keen on that, or at least not willing to chance it. But yeah, 2 players working towards the A side of the map, and that may in fact draw one more rotator over, and that B site looks really juicy if this is going to be a full out fake.
Oh, and look, the smoke came out from Omen 2 again to kind of suggest that that's where they're going to go. The wall has been invested from Sage because they know at least somebody is over there, but there is some discipline coming out of Sentinels as they haven't fully committed. They haven't fully sent over. Shahzam gets 1. The wall's been broken down, but the discipline, again, they just don't budge, bro. They're not moving at all, and dapr, because of his discipline, was able to get 1. Stellar trades it out, some clean shots right up over the ice wall, but Sentinels have the numbers advantage. Now they're going to funnel their way all the way back towards B, but will there be much of a sight left? The spike's going to go down. Stellar gets another 1 in a 1v2. Gets 1. That's 3 on the round for him. And he's got the res. You're right. He's going to totally turn things in LG's favor. Stellar gets the shots of 4K as LG continue to pile it on Sentinels.
Stellar, you're making me a fan, dude. That was one heck of a clutch. And again, I can't help but fanboy a bit over Battle Sages. But between this map and the last, you know, he's had his time to shine in this map for sure. And there's been a few rounds that would not have been won otherwise without some Sage heroics. So that's fun to watch. A res 1v1 finish, essentially. That's tough because, I mean, as far as Sentinels goes, they kept their SMGs. They were very cleanly handling that round, as you kind of so nicely keyed up for us. But the fact is, at the end of the day, if you're over pushing that Sage on the default boxes and you're not going together, it leaves a real opportunity for somebody to make plays on you, and Stellar did so right there. Yep. And I started to talk about this when I was mentioning the default of LG here. They're just fishing for info at mid, and I'm anxious to see. You know, I'm kind of thinking about Moose and a Proto on the extremities, whether or not, you know, in the same way that Sentinels kind of does, a Proto is going to be looking for that top air ramp control, whether or not they're going to be denying information the whole time, caging cross, whatever. But I'm wondering that out loud to you, Doug, because I think once, check my last, we have a nice showstopper coming into be heaven, but Sinatraa satchels out wisely so. Saves his skin. LG resets.
But they don't take the space, too. That's what's interesting. They had the paranoia that pushed off the Rays. They blast pack their way in with the showstopper, but there was no follow-up. Lex, and they cut noise. That wall's there, so they know no one's coming in through garage. They know that nobody followed up and be
30
heaven.
seconds left.
So you can, as Sentinels, you can afford, with an element of comfort to it, to pull off, right? And send some more towards A. Sick is just playing so far up here, and he's alone.
He does have some help now. Dapr's on site with him. He will be deadly as ever on default. Finds 3. Dapr lives, Doug, and now 4-on-1. Just thief food. You know what? Considering everything I've seen out of this man today, I have no doubts that anything's possible. But Dapr, who has one heck of a round, one heck of a hold, that was well played by him. And yeah, Sick was kind of on his lonesome, waiting for that wall to fall, and he lives just long enough for the rotates to come in, Dapr, and make a play. And it's taken me 3 rounds now, but I'm finally going to finish this thought, Doug. Every time I feel like there's something immediately happening, but we haven't seen Shahzam op yet. And when it comes to defaulting on this map, it can get really sketchy if you are over-aggressing at mid early, or if you're, allowing yourself to be aggressive at A main with Cypher caging, which, Proto has been to some degree, but he hasn't been pressing his luck yet. And of course, look at this, Shahzam's going to spray through that. You expect in a Proto lurk. You don't necessarily think it's all 5 there, but I think the jig's up at that point. You kind of know. I've seen people that aren't Cypher here. This has got to be an A hit. The rotates come in. Sick gets deleted by a Proto. Shahzam finds one more, but here we are. A 3-on-4 situation, a 1-on-4 situation. Shahzam's looking for the ace now. And Mr. Khan called down. Picks up 4, looking for 5. Moose actually just falls onto a fence. I'd love to see that. Sinatraa steals it away. I'm anxious to see whether or not that kind of style of, denying info at A, causing A players to have to stay at home. That's what a Cypher's really good at doing on this side of the map. And it allows for about 20 seconds or so a timing window to where the defenders are essentially frozen. And that, can be countered by running an op and having Jet kind of find out these picks. So haven't seen it yet, but I guess what I'm kind of wondering is whether or not Shahzam's even going to try to. And he hasn't picked it up yet thus far. Things are working so far on the defense for Sentinels, but I don't know. If you're LG, you have Sage Ray's ult to worry about. B does not seem like the tasty option, and understandably they're going towards A because of that. And now here we are, pressing into the A bomb site. Sentinels is playing completely opposite of the way LG did, Doug. Dude,
nobody checked ramps? All right. Oh, he got all the way around. Zombs has an idea. He heard it. But still, nobody checked that. Zombs was just able to mosey his way down for free. Shahzam got in on it as well. Moose was supposed to be the safety valve there, and he drops. Shahzam gets a second on the round. Luminosity get ripped to shreds as Shahzam gets 4.
8 and 2 rounds for him as well. This guy is heating up as an understatement. But I think that is a performance where, we had 2 kind of, I don't want to say they were both sketchy rounds, but certainly at one point it seemed as though yielding the A bomb site, kind of playing a retake on it, holding that top ramp A heaven position was the only way that, maybe the retake would come through for Sentinels, but didn't even need to come to that. Shahzam picking up some clean kills there in both of those instances, and here's the operator finally seeing it out of him, and he is just going to use it towards A, so not going to go for anything crazy yet.
Well, and so real quick, keep an eye on this. It wasn't Shahzam that bought it. Dapr went into that last round with 4,600 credits. They win that one. And Shahzam, he buys it for Shahzam. So Shahzam has an op. He has a ton of money to work with as well. And this might be the point where Sentinels, because of that op, are really able to run away with this thing because they have the money that they can invest long-term for the next couple of rounds to ensure that that's a factor.
Sick will be able to get this res off, I believe. Might be able to see the top of a head. It doesn't matter. Nobody's there anymore. LG has yielded that possibility and said, we can't do much about it. And opted to regroup back towards the A site. And Soto must be getting... Oh, that's some timing. And the rule of Bogdan says that op goes away from Shahzam towards a wounded teammate. But there it is. Picks up picks it back up. Matching ion skins across the board was good. And this B7 play, you could maybe see a world in which, you know, dapr overplays his hand a bit, loses his life for his trouble, and maybe you'll yield a spike plant. But really, it seems like, I mean, you already said it. Sentinels, whether it's because of the operator or maybe they're just feeling very comfortable on defense. Obviously, this is a map where LG is not expected to win this, right? Like, this is Sentinel's home turf as far as I'm concerned, but they're definitely showing why now. And I'm impressed with their ability to rebound, and at least up to this point, I mean, they've only dropped 2 rounds this half. LG, and I don't want to take anything away from what they've done so far, but hasn't really shown that they can do anything to win around here. Outside of that 6 Sage clutch, or sorry, not 6 Sage clutch, Stellar Sage clutch. I really haven't seen them strategically outplaying Sentinels yet.
Well, dude, I think you're probably mincing words here. It hasn't been that they haven't been able to get much going. They haven't done anything, right? Like, it's been all Sentinels that pistol round, but then they force, and they've just been able to run away with it since. And again, the finances for Sentinels now have them sitting so pretty, right? Where they're able to get a whole lot going. They can invest for the long term, and potentially, like, take this map away.
And the thing about it is you, in this point in a game, if you're going back and forth, but you're able to achieve this level of a bank account, sure, like, you can afford to take some risks, like go for an aggressive op peak, put your team up, but they haven't even needed to.
Right.
Like, Sentinels is just like, okay, you come in here, we're reading this, we're rotating appropriately, we're staying at home, we're not fooled. And that's not to say that what LG's doing is wrong or you know, wholeheartedly bad, but certainly it's been unsuccessful so far. So I'm interested to see whether or not they're going to have an answer for, you know, actually taking B7 control against Sinatraa, who's one of the best in the game at defending this area on the map. He's always over here with the raised nade out, as we are seeing currently, but this is tense.
30 seconds left.
Just on the other side, that wall's going to go up. That's going to be the cue. Sinatra's going to put the paint cans over the top. The showstopper is going to be used as well, but Sinatraa doesn't get a chance. Stellar silky smooth shots take him out. Thief gets in on it as well. Sentinel's just down to 3 members left. It's now Thief up there in the rafters. The spike needs to go down. That's exactly what happens with just enough time to keep it interesting. The wall is still keeping members of Sentinels at bay, but now Sentinels have a little bit of room to work. But the thing is, Lex, they're so outnumbered, right? Like, it's a 5v3. It's a hard ask. And I mean, yeah, what do you do in a situation like that? The round was over probably 20 seconds ago.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, you yield match point there, and frankly, you ask, what do you do? Well, you have the money where you don't need to necessarily worry about saving, but beyond that, collect your 3 ult orbs for deaths and you know, press forward with a clear conscience and a clear mind in the next round, and hopefully they're able to reset off that. But man, did LG, as ever, you know, talking about caster curses all day so far, I don't know if I'd call this a curse, but you know, speaking to their lack of finding a weakness in the defense of Sentinels, well, there it is, B7, where usually I would view that as a big strength for Sentinels. Sinatraa did all the right things right there, but dropping that Sage wall, waiting for it was stellar, and
so aggressive.
And he wastes his showstopper along the way. So now for LG, like they've sniffed out this mid aggression, Doug. This is going to be intense, whether or not they clean it up. The operator is posted from Shazam as well. Ooh, tense.
They're just on the other side of the wall. The Roomba's there. There's the Leer. Nobody peeks quite yet. Great discipline out of Luminosity. Shazam just, I mean, a few pixels away from making something happen. The wall goes up. They decide they don't want to deal with it. But Thief from up top, able to get one. Sinatraa trades it back out. Sentinels just down to 3 members left here as they fight to stay in this series, as they fight to stay in this map, as they fight to stay in the winner's bracket, or the upper bracket, as my friend Lex so eloquently put. But Luminosity with the numbers advantage, they're going to get onto A for free.
Not only are they going to get it onto A for free, but as you mentioned, I mean, they do have, I won't say ult potential here, but playing the post plant on A, it's a lot easier to drop that res and bait off of it, given the space that you have in front of you. So for a Sage, like, this is still, you're basically counting a 5-on-3 here in some instances. And Dre finds the first. Dapr and Zombs with it all to do, Doug.
Sentinels just down to 1, and ladies and gentlemen, it may have been a fluke the first time, but it's not the second time. Luminosity Gaming take down Sentinels, and they demand attention.
Than claiming are for other teams. Envy, they're here at least to go into the closed qualifiers with all the momentum in the world, and Immortals with a fresh roster. They're already happy, but they can't be complacent. This is their chance. This is the grand finals. It's BO5. It's split. Let's get into it.
Oh, already early on, Envy going for a whole lot of frenzies. I feel like we've seen the frenzy really come to the forefront of the meta, but that does mean we have to sacrifice a little bit of that utility, right? Obviously, already, I think it's FNS having to sacrifice 2 cages. He's gone for 1 cage in 1 trip. So utility is going to be a little bit bare bones with these players on frenzies. Obviously, Caboose, no armor, but he does have the paranoia. So Envy, they sacrifice utility for firepower, but already shot up. Doesn't matter what he's got. A ghost is all he needs, and Crashies is the first blood.
One of the best players in this tournament thus far. Shot up, still looking for more. Of course he is, but has 2 people on the peak. How does he survive there? And he's still going for more. 1 hidden around the corner, and jcstani more or less stealing away the kill from FNS. Mummay trying to get a little bit tricky with it, but now it's just Caboose in a 1v5, and he's not going to be able to get more than 1. So Immortals with a slick pistol round dub.
Great start as well on the defensive side. You want all the momentum you can get. Now, moving forward, they're not going to really have too much contest. Envy, no spike plant. They obviously go for majority frenzies. No, they're going for a full buy, it looks like. Already FNS picking up a stinger. They are going to try and contest this super, super heavily. Immortals, though, this is the time where they're looking to make this into a bonus, right? They can keep as many guns as possible, and they can move forward, and they don't have to worry about their economy. Everything in this game is about economy. It all revolves around how many strong buys you can get. And Immortals, this is where things start early on. Genghsta going to drop a slow orb. No, instead a wall to hold off the main. So they've got control there already, and a contest back towards heaven, but there's that guiding light. jcstani, he's revealed the information, and Envy are going to start to march towards him.
Again, a big spot for jcstani, but even then, Chemicals is going to be on the front line. Shot up. Had so many pixels in front of him, but to his side, a little bit of a flank on, if anything. Still, Chemicals and Genghsta able to get 2 frags. Nothing too crazy. Again, Envy in this round, they're just looking for a whole lot of damage to the economy of Immortals. See if they can take away some of those SMGs and force out a reinvestment. But through the smoke instead, Chemicals, he's going to maintain his hot streak from yesterday and get himself a 3K to stat pad. Immortals going into this round, however, it is their bonus. They're going to maintain the SMGs, but Envy investing a little bit too much into that last round. They still maintain at around that 2K mark, and they have to go for pistols again.
Yeah, unfortunate that Immortals, they only lose 1 player. You're right, this is going to be a complete bonus. It could technically be a double bonus, because then if they can keep 5 players here again, Envy are going to have to force up in the next. And Immortals, they're going to go with whatever they've got saved in this one. In the last round, a little bit rough. Immortals put a lot of emphasis to kind of control mid, right? This early wall going up, Killjoy utility on that A site, so they can focus elevator, they can focus mailroom, or Envy. They understand this map. This map is all about controlling these rotations, controlling this mid position, and Immortals, they're not scared to back away. However, jcstani, he's gone down very, very early on, and Envy, they gain control here, but there is 1 player shot up to try and hold as an alarm bot goes off.
And again, jcstani was playing more of a pivot in the last 2 rounds. Not exactly a surprise that he's going to get lurked on, but even then, wow. Envy, they were waiting to pop out of an elevator, and the 1 player in ramp essentially acting as a flame to a moth in a sense, attracting all of that attention. And Envy now in a 2-man advantage. What is only, again, yet another eco round for them, and they're going to get yet another kill from behind. 2 in a row for Envy. It's slick, it's clean. As now Immortals, they're left now with 2 players, still the SMGs. They rally, but Chemicals, he was about to take on yet another cheeky kill from himself, but even then, Food has full control over the heaven side. Both Chemicals and Nature, the 2 new young guns in a sense, looking to approach. Deep paranoia, but Food, he needed that kill early on, but a wide swing stinger from Nature gets it, but Mummay might have just closed out the round. Nature has to get now a 1v3 with nothing but a stinger. And Envy, I mean, again, off the eco, still building up so much momentum, so much pressure, and their positioning is immaculate. They're going to take round number 3 and leave Immortals in a tricky spot.
Yeah, they're going to be... They were hoping to turn this into a second bonus round, but Envy, they do everything right. They stick together. They make the trade potential. Immortals, I kind of praise them in the pregame for being really good at finding trades. I mean, playing kind of back-to-back and ensuring that if one player goes down, there's going to be two players ready to swing and take the frag back from the same angle or a different angle this time around. I think because they're putting so much emphasis towards mid, but they also need to have some players watching those extremities, they're kind of split up. Now in this one, Immortals, because the second round was basically a bonus and that third one was as well, they can at least full buy here. And Envy, despite losing that second round force by conversion, because they win that third, they've got a strong buy as well. So early on, it's a full gun round, and we're right back on track in round number 4.
Envy halted, but still very much split, going for, again, early defaults with at least pressure over towards the A side. So you call it a default, but it's a little bit of a long execute because you have these two players essentially just trying to drag out as much attention as possible, or either that, a couple of picks. That could open up Envy for an option to a rotation or something of the sorts. But Envy running out of a little bit of time. Oh my, what a setup. You still had the turret up just to try to catch the attention, try to catch that first ping, and Shut Up was there for the trade. But instead, he goes down to Caboose, and Envy has a big opening that, again, gets a whole lot of attention from Immortals. A 3-man stack over towards the A side at the moment with only one in heaven. It's none other than Genghsta with a Phantom looking over the cross. Not going to be able to take down Food. Oh, man. Stinger v Phantom. It's going to be the Stinger to win it out. And just like that, Immortals down a man after the kill from jcstani. Envy has control of B. Now it's down to the post plant.
Oh, I think Chemicals at least heard the sound cue. Maybe not Food. This is a huge position. They're not going to expect this whatsoever. The spike down, planted for B main. And you saw how Food control in this mid position can hold on to these rotations, and he's going to hold on to them all sure as hell. Food with 3 in the round. Already the revive charged up. Immortals, they've got nowhere to go. It's just Chemicals, and he's got to save. Nothing you can really do. But again, Food playing a huge part of this round. Slow warp to prevent anyone to swing out mail. Again, Envy, they put an emphasis towards mid. They understand this map. They control these rotations, and they can go back and forth between the sites fluidly whenever they need, whenever they want to. And Immortals got caught completely off guard with that 3-player ace.
Oh. I mean, I call Nature an impact fragger in a sense, but you really have to give that title to Food. Yeah. Yesterday, he caught, if I'm not mistaken, 3 4Ks that, of course, all led into round wins. And not only that, but Envy, they were down people in those rounds. So even then, Food has, I guess you could say, a clutch gene, either that or just a willing to just throw himself out there as a sage of all characters into interactions that he really shouldn't be in. And again, Food has always been a very stellar individual fragger ever since his days in Counter-Strike. And well, you put him on a sage, pure support character, you put him in a tight situation, and he's gonna be able to frag out. And there he goes again. Initial peek in B main from Immortals gets immediately taken down by Food. And now Envy, again, within seconds, they have a man advantage.
Right here, Envy, it's keeping a clean round, but also keeping up as many of these ultis as you can. Charge up as many as possible as well. I think on the Immortal side, at least, a couple of them are nearing completion. I think the lockdown, especially for Nature, could be big. The Empress for Shot Up. So, Immortals, any kills that they can get, they'll be glad they can get them. They're taking things slow here, Envy. Again, understanding that this is no slouch of a team, Immortals. They don't have much to play with here in Envy. They completely have this site, but 2 players flanking quick into heaven. Crashies, he does have a Vandal. He's got the firepower, and he's going to catch one off guard the second. Chemicals wanted the gun. Crashies was completely aware. There's those Seekers charged up in FNS. We're going to maybe add another tally to the ultimate.
Indeed he will. Takes down Nature in mid. Crashies already had Seekers. Just like that, it's going to be a flawless one for Envy. And no crazy economic damage coming in from Immortals. No, not even a win off the 1v1s. Not too much damage being done. So if anything, Envy with light util usage actually over towards that site. It's not going to be too much of a reinvestment. But that's not really the thing that we should be focusing on. It's really Immortals that's in the early rounds back towards the rifles and the SMGs at least are going a little bit more individualistic in a sense. They're starting to slow down more, which is at least a good adjustment.
Yeah, and this one though, Immortals retake towards this A side. That's why you only see Nature here, because he has that lockdown. He's going to try and play around that. Shot up again. He does have that Empress. If he needs to, he'll use it to explode. Same thing with a Showstopper or us on the side of Envy. Seekers for the retake. Revive available as well. I mean, ultimates all across the board for these sides. And yep, there's that retake set up. Envy We'll have the site for free, but Nature, with this lockdown, does he get hunted down? Yep, Creepers go in. He will be exposed at least to his positioning, and Immortals, they're going to try and regroup together. Again, because Envy have been playing that late lurk towards mid, it kind of keeps in the back of their mind that there could be someone there for Immortals. With a lockdown ready to go, and Envy, how can they hold this one down? They'll be forced out of the site, but Immortals, here they come.
Here we go, and not only that, but a lockdown to make things really chaotic. These players from Envy, they got a back on now, but even then, they're still holding down the site. That's massive for crashies. Catching up two, foot on the front lines. It doesn't even matter. Chemicals and jcstani still catching up frags. Everyone left away, and just like that, Envy, instead of just backing out of sight, they see the lockdown, and I mean, they don't see anything at that point. They just see a round where they can actually frag out towards those back lanes. Mortals feels a little bit too comfortable. They run their way on, and they have no chance. What a finishing sequence from crashies and the boys of Envy.
He was the player that I highlighted in the beginning. 50 kills alone against NRG in that 2-map series, and here he goes again, a huge triple, and he just had the Seekers. He's now only one charge off of them. So quick and so fast, and not only that, Envy, they held on to the majority of their ults as well. They are looking good moving forward, and Immortals, how do they respond? Gonna be a light pie, shot up. He's a player that you really need to stand up, and you mentioned Food again. He finds an opening kill. Nature down instantly. Utility gun for the Killjoy. And Immortals, again, it's all about trying to pull some guns out of the hands of Envy. There's not much you can really do with the lesser guns, and already down a man. Envy play this extremely slow, very cautious of these weapons that Immortals hold on to.
And again, folks, with at least SMGs or with a little bit of a plugged up buy, you're going to expect these teams to really stack up a singular sites, just, in a sense, really just pull all of their eggs into one basket and just see if they could just try their luck. But Envy, they choose the right side, they get the information needed, and it's all going to be over towards that B site where the rotation comes in actually strong. Chemicals gets himself too with a little bit of a late nade.
This is winnable.
Finesse takes him back though, and absolutely it is. Genghsta now has a Vandal.
Gonna revive.
Revive and half armor. This is huge for Genghsta. He's gonna try this one out. In we go, 2v2. It's as even as you can get, but Mummay now down to 12 HP, has the Blade Storm, but can't hit any of it. Still FNS in an off angle, not gonna get paranoid, but instead, he's gonna go away, but Mummay with a shot onto Genghsta. Now it's a 1v2. jcstani, he's gone big before, but he has to go even stronger with nothing but a stinger. It's low HP on these last two players though. They're not even peeking for the right side. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie, and they win the battle. 5-2 for Envy as Immortals. They boot on the Jets, but it's not worth it for them in the end.
That's an explosive play from Chemicals to even put that in a winnable position. Late rotation from Food. He has that, or apologies, not Food, Genghsta. That late rotation, he had that revive available. That became so winnable, but a clean shot from Mummay. That's what you need from him. When he's online with the operator, there's not much you can do to take those one-on-one fights. And Envy, they do barely scrape by in that round, losing 3 players in a position where they should have kept the majority of them alive. But again, Chemicals can always be such a nuisance when it comes to those rounds. And Immortals, with any guns, they can be deadly. But this one, though, it's the full buy for both sides. And Envy, they're taking a little bit more presence towards the extremities, right? You already have crashies grouped up in B main. 2 players posted up here on the A site. And the rest will hang out towards mid. And Immortals, they're not going to try to react. You can see now kind of the concession or the seceding away from this mid position. They're not going to invest too much. And this is the trade style from Immortals. Stick together. 3 grouped up in heaven, prepared to trade one another out. I mean, that's classic Immortals so far.
Oh, classic. And not only that, but they can hold off that heaven position, but a hard retake can be if they absolutely need to. Envy, they get essentially pinched out if they even touch this B position. But Envy, they still got to hold on back and waiting for the Immortals players to really show any pixels. And indeed they do. Chemicals tiptoes the line in between safety and absolute death, because now Envy, they're still hounding that heaven area. But here we go. So it's exactly what you mentioned. That stack early round is going nuts for them. jcstani in a great position, gonna be able to trade back 2 kills for this team. And now Envy, restricted down to 2, is depending on none other than crashies to make his entry. Shut Up is there with a trade. You said trade heavy, and here we go. 1v2 for Food.
Yeah, Food does have a revive, and you talked about how good he's in these clutches. Well, he can maybe get a kill and get a revive, but 10 seconds left. It's going to be a little bit impossible. Shot Up good to swing on back. And yeah, again, there's that Immortals trade presence. They have been so good against Sentinels, a team that is extremely well coordinated. Immortals made it look like child's play. They looked insane with that trade fragging, shot up, always leading that line of fire, and then Chemicals right behind. It's classic Immortals once more. And here again is that replay. Perfect trade. Genghsta goes down. jcstani immediately ready for the second frag after that one as well for 3 in the round. I mean, Immortals, that's the style you need to play. Don't play the game of envy. In the early stages, it felt like, again, they were kind of drawing themselves towards mid, trying to find 1vx's, and this is what they need to do. Stick together and play your own game as envy. Here's a little bit more heavy presence. Mummay's been good on the op, and he could get an opening pick on a shot who plays on the left side now.
Slow orb in heaven, but that's going to be shot up in a great position. And the cheeky dismiss. He delays it too, just in case he's able to get that first pick off. But instead now you have the boys of Envy still over towards that back line. Oh, shot up. Timing. Sneaking in through the smoke. It's pure timing, but I think he might have made a singular point of noise. Mummay heard him, spread over that communication, and now still Immortals with a man advantage. Chemicals takes back Caboose. Envy, they're still trying out this A site just a little bit more, but look over towards B. It's crashies all in his lonesome. Everyone from Immortals very reactionary. They full rotate, and they expect that this Envy team has at least gotten themselves control of this site, and indeed
Chemicals.
they've got it. Yeah, that's going to be the first signal of it. Crashies all the way back in their spawn. They're watching up the cross, and he's actually successful. A little bit of a cheeky shoulder peek, and not only that, but FNS could still probably get the kill. Good adjustment and good rotation, but even then, Chemicals with an absolute Kobe going to be able to get yet another one and make it a fourth as Chemicals sweeps up the round against Envy, and Immortals, they have a little bit of life left in them because of Chemicals and shot up once again.
Yeah, great awareness from Immortals and Chemicals in general to recognize, well, at least from the first kill when he got the player in elevator, it allowed, I think it's Genghsta to make that rotation alongside jcstani. Yep, here on the minimap, you can see it. That kill from Chemicals opens that rotation up towards mid, and then they can double back as a team. You again see Immortals sticking as a pack, keeping that trade potential. That's something that's going to be emphasized, I feel like, throughout this entire game, is that Immortals, it's all about playing as a team, playing as a unit to allow trade potential. And Envy, they get caught unaware about it. In that round, though, it was all Chemical. He pops off again. He's been so good on the op lately, and here he is once more. 4 players in B main, and one of them could go down instantly, but Chemicals drops, missing the shot. And now a nade to try and put them back in their places. It is going to be Mummay tacked very low.
It's still interesting though. Envy, not much control throughout the map. They're really adventuring at this point in terms of what would be singular player over towards that mid side. But wow, okay. The boom buddy places it right on top of the wall. It's like he's playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater at this point. Gets a couple of points off of at least a quick grind, and there you go. Quick trick shot, and now we have shot up now with a couple of shots back. And the double dismiss for more information. That is massive. Envy now down to a singular player. jcstani here for the cleanup. And no, you're absolutely right. Shot up loves to play around with those dismisses, and he does yet another showcase of it in that round.
Yeah, shot up. He's always so cheeky with that kind of stuff. When you get a double, I love the way he uses the Reyna utility. I feel like some people always call Reyna a very selfish agent, but shot up, he uses every single utility piece to help his team, and there's a perfect example of it. Envy, they will be on an eco here. Last round was very rough. I feel just the presence of Chemicals alone can deter an entire team. And Envy, I mean, Chemicals can play both sides. We've seen him on A, we've seen him mid, we've now just seen him on B. So Envy, how do you play against an operator that just can't seem to miss only for a few shots while you get aggressive? Mummay already straight up into heaven. He's got this control, and he's going to be looking to hold on to it now as well. Wall goes up to prevent Chemicals, and Mummay, he's going to keep on pushing. He's got the info. No need to reaggress, but Chemicals, he finds 2 before going down, and Envy, they disperse. 3 players left for both sides, and Immortals, 1 player is all that they needed to get back into this one.
Surely so, but nature, there you go. I was about to say nature needs this one onto Caboose, as the second contact isn't there to trade him out. Immortals, they turn this from a huge disadvantage to actually an advantage in their favor. Now Genghsta, he could be able to sweep up yet another kill from behind. Crashies now in a 1v3, and nature is there for the trade back. There you go. There's the KJ exploding a little bit, as now Immortals, they put themselves in prime position at the end of this half, 6-5.
Huge play from Chemicals. I mean, the the confidence to even go for a play like that. Blast pack, you kind of know that you're gonna end up going down. I mean, Envy grouped up in there, it's literally perfect. Chemicals has been such an X factor for this Immortals lineup. Him and Shot Up starting to come alive in the early stages in those first 2 rounds, the string of rounds from Envy, those 5 in a row, it wasn't Shot Up, it wasn't Chemicals starting to pull their weight, but here they are now, popping off as usual, and Chemicals wanting an early fight as Envy, they run their normal defaults, presence from food into B main. FNS always been a very good lurk towards A side as a backdoor, but he's grouped up. They're looking for a B hit. No presence left towards A except for that single trip. And what control can they get here? Shot Up, stopped by a smoke, and now stopped by Caboose, is forced to back away. But there are 3 players here, Gus, and Envy, with 1:10 left on the clock, might be looking to actually split back into A heaven instead.
Could definitely happen because now Immortals, they're actually letting off the gas pedal in that heaven area. So again, just in terms of timing, that would be a great,
the wall.
great optimal time for them. But even then, wall goes down and you have at least one person waiting up and a little bit of an off angle. Could catch a rotation back. So we got to pay attention to that interaction. Still with 45 seconds left, Envy, although we were talking about the potential over towards A, and especially with that util setup, could definitely grind them out. They're still aiming down the B site. We usually see a very heaven-heavy pick, but instead it's only going to be jcstani holding it down. He's going to be able to get one, trade back for Caboose. Still one on site. It's Chemicals with a tight angle, and he gets another one back. Still more to pay attention to. That's a slick blast pack, but still not going to be able to find anything more. Shut up with a big frag. Now it's a 1v3 for food. He's not even going to go for the plant. Still wants a couple more frags to really make this one worth it. But with the wall going down, Shut Up just around the corner. So much pressure. Food's going to go down to Genghsta. Immortals. Massive hold from only 2 players. As Envy on the attacking side, only able to get 5 rounds. Immortals actually have the advantage in a map that they haven't exactly played all too much.
Yeah, again, though, remember, we kind of go back to that stat line of the one map that they have played against Cloud9 Blue. 10-13 loss in Cloud9. They've proven themselves that they are a top team in North America on split. I mean, with Sunny and him playing on 200 ping, they still won every single split map that they played in the Winter Championship. So Immortals, while they haven't played this map as much, they are, again, still a very capable team in Envy. Now on the defensive half, though, this is the favorite side. This is the tried and true for Envy, and they've been always very consistent on the defense. We'll see if maybe things can change up where Immortals start to get a lot more momentum on the attack, but Envy sticking to, again, those 4 classics, or apologies, the 4 frenzies. They love them. They run and gun with them, and Immortals, it's an early default here with Envy, again, playing together, just like Immortals did, looking for those early trades, but a wall up towards mid should at least allow these 2 players in heaven, and now Crashies with this rotation to focus here on this B bomb site.
And again, it's all solo dolo. As it's still that same attention lurk that we like to see from teams, but he's actually not going to commit to it, at least in the hands of Immortals. So instead, now Envy. 4 players already fast on the rotation back, and FNS on the front line still holding things back. Huge from mummay, actually. Popping up from the heaven area, snagging one back, but there's still a whole lot more work to do. Yes, Immortals, they have control of sight, but Envy, I was about to say, they're starting to hound a little bit, but the ramp side's a little bit loose. But with the turret up and nature still here to help, well, Immortals now has a huge chance. So much oppression in that ramp area just from one player, and he's just snagged away so much time. Time-wasting strats, still crunching it off. Shot up with the first contact with a little bit of damage. Genghsta needs another one here to really make things count. But now Shot up in a 1v2. Could potentially get a heal just from one singular frag. It's actually a fake. Not going to be able to get one, though. Tight angle again. Still playing ring around the rosy, around the... at least around the spike. But crashies gets it back. And with a spike finally being defused and a smoke up in a really inconspicuous area, Envy, they're going to take the pistol round, the all-important pistol round, as they start to rally up some rounds.
Yeah, huge pickup there for Envy to get the momentum going. Now, do we see a buyback there for Immortals? Envy looked really good on that retake, however. Big paranoia as well from Caboose into the back lines, kind of forcing those 1v1s. Good crossfire held by Immortals, but Envy, they go forward. You talked about nature buying all that time, and even then, Immortals, they couldn't find the optimal positions. They should have been ready for that 3-player push, and now because of their slight faults, they're gonna have to compromise. Only pistols here, no full buy. The Sheriff, at least for Genghsta. How deadly can he be with it? A one-way smoke set up there by Envy, but canceled by the offensive smoke dropped by Caboose. He has a paranoia ready in the back as well now as Envy. Still dancing around with this idea. Immortals, they haven't much control. So this is a big gamble. You don't know how deep the players on A could be. And FNS up close is a cam to play around. And he's going to get the early info. 4, 5 players get spotted. Page goes up instantly, and he's going to sit inside.
Oh. I was about to say ult orb getting taken. He heard that one. He was directly in sight. Could have been baited by it too, but Immortals had a whole lot of trade potential in that area. So still nice and disciplined as Immortals. It almost looks like their one goal there was just to try to take up the ult orb, boot the heck out of there, and Genghsta has control of mid with a kill and elevator. So he's controlling the rotation now from that elevator area. Still a little bit of time could be taken off the clock, still going into spawn as mummay finally takes down Genghsta. But even then, Immortals, they take all of this attention, all of these frags, and they double back again, Sully. They're on this A site, and they're here for an easy plant. If they could get it down in time, FNS, what a rotation, perfectly on time. Mummay, FNS, both with frags. Envy, they're gonna snag a 7th. As again, Immortals winning out 5 rounds in a row. Envy, at least getting a little bit of confidence back, like you mentioned, with the momentum. But Immortals with the rifles. They even have a cheeky little ulti this early on in the game. We could see some fireworks from Immortals in this round. Envy, though, they are on their bonus.
Big round for Envy, keeping as many players alive, but it isn't a full bonus. 2 players are going to have to force up here, crashies and food. So again, Immortals, they can play around with the way here and then moving into the next. It's going to be a weakened buy from Envy. We'll see what Envy can do about it. Lots of pressure for Immortals into B main and Caboose in the back. He's not playing behind the pallet. Instead, I think he's going to try and dance around and back away into spawn if he needs to, but a lockdown. Didn't even see that one come in. I don't think Envy were either, so they're going to back all the way into the site, but Immortals are playing this waiting game, and Caboose, he still has a paranoia. But paranoias, they go both ways. jcstani affected, and Caboose, he plays around this box. This is massive from Caboose.
No way.
In the smoke now, he's got to wait. There's one, down goes Nature, spin back for 2, and Caboose finds 3. That's what you want when you're in the back site, and he's put Envy in a 2v2 as Chemicals comes big. They've got the advantage, Immortals.
I mean, Immortal somehow does one better. Massive from Chemicals with a 3K, but now it's FNS, now in a 1v3. Oh, the revival from Genghsta. Okay, things got a little bit trickier. I was about to say the 1v2, very much possible, but 1v3, fresh HP, and power on site, coverage of heaven. They're getting all that information. And speaking of info, FNS, he hears one over in heaven, but with an alarm button in front and Genghsta watching the cross. That's going to be Immortals with an 8th round. Only 2 players going down, so that rebuy is going to be relatively easy, especially if they start to redistribute that economy. But Envy now going into this next one, you mentioned that it wasn't exactly a full bonus, and that's really coming back to bite them in this round. With 2 players down at just about 2K, they really have to be economically sound, as they might just get reset in this round.
Yeah, this is really rough for Envy. Obviously, crashes and food being those 2 with the rifles. They're going to be the ones that have to salvage the pistol and the stinger. And Immortals, they know that. And they realize that there were 2 rifles in that last round, so 2 players forced up. Now they're going to try and play around that. Slow and steady this time from Immortals. Envy, Trailblazer in, does buy a lot of info, and I think it even stunned jcstani in there, so crashies might look to retake. But the guiding light doesn't send it. So he doesn't have all the info, and Immortals will be able to take back B main, but they're trying to figure out the mid Caboose caught off guard. Dynamic duo of shot up in Chemicals. They go hand in hand together. They will find too early on as crashes with just a frenzy. A phantom around the corner, but it is going to be so difficult to hold. There are so many angles and no utility to support them in the middle of B site.
Cover going out.
Indeed, there isn't. Immortals, they're looking to exploit that in a sense, although, again, it's very inadvertent. Again, nothing towards that site, but there's still a little something from crashies with that turret getting placed down right in the middle of the gap. It's a chance for crashies, actually, with the timing to get a couple. Mummay, here we go. 1v3 for the man. He has the op, he has the blade storm. If anything, this is a huge chance for him to get probably that sweet play of the day. Let's see if Immortals really crosses into his crosshairs. Still waiting out for a couple of players to walk on. But these post-plant positions from Immortals, they're not exactly looking to really let go of it. So, yeah, Mummay. If he had gotten that first pick at least, definitely he would have gone for it. But with time getting crunched off the clock and Immortals not really getting too aggressive, it's going to be Mummay with a really, really good save, considering how long-lasting his setup is really going to be.
Yeah, you talk about those post-plant positions. Shot up underneath heaven. I mean, everybody's watching an angle. Genghsta looking towards spawn. jcstani looking back towards me. I mean, they've got all their extremities covered. If one player goes down in the position that they're holding, for example, if Shot Up were to get taken down by Mummay in heaven, those two players, jcstani and Genghsta, can instantly swing. So yeah, no chance there for Mummay, no matter what. But Envy, you never know. They always look deadly. And now with a half buy, essentially, they're going to force up a little bit around this operator, mainly just pistols. And they'll see what Mummay can do with it. Again, they have the Blade Storm. They've got a decent set of ultimates. The Seekers can come in very handy. The Neural Theft as well in getting info. And if you want to take the TP caboose, you can if you want to. Go ahead and stick it. But Immortals grouped up towards this side. Food, he's going to be in for a nasty, nasty surprise if he goes and peeks.
Or either that. It's very plentiful for him. It just looks so goofy. Food on top of his own wall, essentially just vibing. They do more or less speak him out. The boom bot doesn't catch anything, but again, a tricky position. It was almost literally a one and done, but he could have just tried his luck and oh my god. Shot up with a glorified Goomba stomp at the end there. So now Envy now. The 3 players remaining. They have ultis, but most likely they're going to carry them over into the next round. Not much to actually fight back with, and oh my. Chemicals and Genghsta still with 2 back in. Mummay, really the more important player to actually get the save up. He's got to run. Immortals, they're still trying to hound over towards that heaven side. Same thing in spawn. And no, Mummy's just going to stick around here. Still with 1 back. That's some exit potential, but there's jcstani. Massive now for Immortals. They've gotten that operator out of the hands of Envy, and depending on their economy in this next round, it's not going to get reinvested. Mummay really has to stretch for it, and indeed he will. With just about 400 credits for utility and 400 more credits really just for light armor, Mummay is going all in on this buy. Same thing with FNS and food. Envy, they're putting themselves in yet another one of those all or nothing situations where they just get reset off of this. This essentially gives Immortals that 12th round if they win.
Yeah, this is so tricky now for Envy. Early wall goes up, but food. He's going to play the contact. As soon as a shot is rung, that's when that wall will go up. But Immortals making moves. I think a missed TP from jcstani. He kind of started a little bit on the mini-map. Oh, Mummay! That's what you want, and there goes up the wall. So mid-control gained. If you're Immortals, at least, it's such a risk to even try and continue to push forward. Food still linger around, and Mummy's going to take his op elsewhere. He peeks down B main, and FNS playing just around the corner of ramp. It's good control here for Envy. So Immortals, how do you really play around this? Throughout this entire game, again, Immortals playing very good with that trade potential. Here they are again, sticking and grouping up together. Can they retake this mid position? You have Chemicals with this double blast back. That could be the X factor. We saw what he did on the defensive half. Can he do it here again? Because there's only 45 seconds left. And Immortals, they need to get a move on. And it looks like they're going towards the A side where 2 players wait.
It's going to be real tough for Envy, and not only that, but the Seekers, they're going completely over towards the other side, so that's a little bit of early information, but is it exactly optimal? We don't know just yet. Chemicals with a showstopper, not going to be able to catch anything. Instead, now FNS with a really good time to ramp push with a massive 2K. Now, Genghsta goes up on the wall, and we didn't even see the angle, but it doesn't matter. You can just tell that the frag was sick. Food, what a frag back, and Envy with a systematic win on A with actually a little bit of an early ulti. It really just came down to FNS and a whole lot of attention from Envy on the back lane. Immortals had no chance going forward, and now they have to readjust.
Yeah, huge play from Envy as well to kind of pivot around Mummay. Do they continue to do that here? I think that's going to be a key piece in kind of bringing this game back. Immortals, you mentioned that was the round. They win that. They reset Envy. They can get themselves to 12. Now, here's early smokes dropped by both sides. One back towards mailroom, so they're going to try and isolate the player in elevator. And one drop by Envy to the top of B main to try and take some presence. And Immortals, they want this mid control. Trailblazer goes out for some information. Doesn't really spot much. You saw a shot up. Slow or a bit slow. Trailblazer down just a little bit. But on the flip side, Mummay holding in a very aggressive angle where he can easily get caught off guard. But thanks to these trips, I think SENTINELS now backing him up. He should be safe and sound. A lot of info here for at least the side of Envy. They've got control towards A with the alarm bots. But how do they play around this? Because they've drawn 2 players here and shot up. He's trying to cause a ruckus, draw these rotations away. And as Envy drop a wall up towards the top of B main, they are buying so much time off of this clock. And Immortals, they don't really have much utility to back them up. This paranoia is going to have to come in so clutch into the back site.
The quick Empress Immortals, they emerge, and Food actually right on top gets a nice angle onto jcstani, but that eye is not going to do anything. Instead, now crashies going to be able to get one back, but still Food there to help. Chemicals with a massive one, but still gets traded. Still now a 3-on-3 as Genghsta actually gets the revival, but nature. The timing on that flick is so massive for Immortals. They get the main advantage. He's trying to hold down Heaven. Now FNS gonna be able to get a whole lot of information off the Nero theft. Not only that now, but a counter revival potentially, but Genghsta shuts it down. I didn't even realize it. That's more than clutch from Genghsta, as now he only has to face on FNS. Low HP, and he gets it! Genghsta probably doesn't know it, but that just saved Immortals this entire game.
They needed that round. It took them a little bit. It took one extra round, but they get it through in the end. Now, Envy, how do they recuperate? Because they, again, are going all into this one. Does Mummay get the up? That's the question. He's been so pivotal. He was pivotal in that round where they ended up picking it up and keeping Immortals off of that potential 12. Do they get him back on it? They don't. It doesn't look like they have the credits to afford to. He's got a 6 adjust a Blade Storm. And now Envy, this is such a big hole they've got to now try and dig themselves out of. And they are going to try and play the aggressive game. They're stacked up right outside of B main, and players are going to try and get aggressive. There is a slow orb at least, so for all they know, there could be players waiting. It's going to get ugly here. Here comes a swing. jcstani not taking the peak full on, so Envy got control, but that is a huge paranoia in nature. Big with 2, jcstani with a 3rd, and that was the gamble they took and the price they paid.
Well, they got to go down ASAP over onto that B site. Still a rotation coming back quick, but no. Spike will be able to go down, no issues. But Mummay, he's been holding onto this Blade Storm for so long. And this is really the round where you can go massive. There you go. Genghsta playing around, getting a little bit cheeky with the beaks. And he gets them back. Now it's a 2-on-3 with FNS here to help. Still in Heaven, no one actually able to peek him out. There's 2 behind that wall, 1 in the back of sight. Mummay, watch out, probably gonna go for an updraft or something of the sort. Still has a dash and everything to work with. He emerges with the right click. It was absolutely needed. FNS tries his hardest as his head is on a swivel, peeking out every angle possible. And now Immortals, with such an explosion in B main and a good hold of the B side post plants, they are now only 1 round away from beating Envy for the first time in this entire tournament.
What a story it would be. Envy, we talked about them being 12-0 in maps. 6 best of 3s, 12 maps for them, 0 lost against them. This is insane, Envy. 1 round away from dropping their first map in the VCT and Immortals. What a story it would be. We knew Split was going to be intense. We knew the potential that Immortals had, but this is unlike anything we could have expected. 4 rounds ahead and a lockdown to try and steal the deal. It's just Caboose in the back. He's been so good in this pivot position, and it's a Theme Flash that almost opened things up. Or apologies, I think it was the Guiding Light instead from Crashies, but still Immortals recuperate. Shauna pushing the back line has got 3, and that could be it for Envy.
It's yet another banger of a round from Shot-Up. It's just consistent frags, isn't it? FNS, he's tried his hardest. Multiple rounds in this game where he's had multi-frags, but this one, it's such a tall task. It's almost improbable. It's almost impossible. FNS around the corner going to be able to take down jcstani, and Shut-Up is there. 4 kills for Shut-Up in the round. 13 rounds for Immortals. The once immortal Envy has been taken down by the Immortals. For the first time in this tournament, a map has been taken away.
What a huge, I wouldn't even call it an upset at this point. What a huge statement, though, from Immortals to take down